Frontline Gaming, we make the best tabletop gaming mats in the universe. Our mats are durable, rollable, foldable, wipeable, and storable. Oh, and they look damn great too. Join the thousands of tournament regulars and garage gamers who use our mats to bring their gaming surfaces to life. To ensure quality, Frontline Gaming mats are custom made one at a time, printed with high quality ink. Our immersive designs stay crisp and are available in a wide range of styles and sizes. So whether you're playing a war game or a skirmish game, whether you're fighting over an alien tundra, fantastical forest, or real-world setting, there's a great-looking battlefield for you. Our gaming mats are printed on extremely durable neoprene backing, so they won't slide around the table, and they're thick enough to stay flat, protecting what's underneath and allowing for slight uneven surfaces. We know from experience that an easily portable gaming surface is just better. Every mat comes with a sturdy nylon zip-up bag for storage and transportation. Whether your next battle is in your home or at the local game store, you'll be able to unroll your FLG mat and get gaming right away. Our products are all made and tested by passionate gamers at Frontline Gaming HQ right here in the USA. It's time to take your battlefield to a new level. Frontline Gaming, champions of tabletop.
Welcome back to SoCal Open 2021. Of course, I am Andrew Dickinger, joined by some guy named Adam. I don't know. How are you doing, Adam?
Yeah. Pretty good. Never heard of me. Don't know me from anywhere. This guy, though, this guy is everywhere. He's on everything. Just a household name.
Too much of me, yes.
Andrew the Elephant.
Andrew the Elephant, yes. So far, this event has been really awesome. Some of these pairings I couldn't believe that some of these matchups, how they've gone. I've been so wrong so many times. I swear I know a little bit about what I'm doing.
Well, it's been a lot of different, it's been a lot of surprise matchups and surprise factions making it through the undefeated bracket again and again. I would like to say that we had 4 sisters make it through to the undefeated round of 4, as in had 3 undefeated in day 1, and not one of them made it undefeated out of the first round today. So in the undefeated bracket right now, we have 11 players. We have 1 Forces of the Hive Mind, 1 Mixed Chaos, 1 Chaos Demons, 2 Orcs, 1 Drukhari, 2 AdMech, and 2 Orcs, and a single Grey Knights and a single Dark Angels. So it's actually quite a good spread. Quite a good spread, mate.
A little more spread than I actually anticipated. I thought we were going to see pretty much the scene being totally dominated by Orc freebooters and maybe Drukhari or AdMech. Either one of those is a bit of a toss.
With just how many Drukhari I thought, so it was more than 20% of this meta. The meta of this event was Drukhari, so I assumed Drukhari was going to polarize a lot of the matchups. And surprisingly, only Sean Naden made it out of day 1 undefeated for the Drukhari players.
Well, that brings us to an interesting thing with the event. We've got an amazing interview with Kicker, who leads the coordination for Frontline Gaming. So if we would like to look, he is the Frontline Events Coordinator, and we've got an awesome interview with him.
Yeah, we're going to dial that up right now. A wonderful Kicker. It's going to tell us a lot about what's coming up for Frontline Gaming now and into the future.
Hello, everybody. I am Magic RP's Fly over at the SoCal Open, and with me today we've got Kicker. Hello, Kicker. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, everyone. My name is Kicker. Yes, that is my actual name.
Well, so what do you do at this event?
I'm the Frontline Gaming event coordinator, so I'm not a judge, I'm not really a TO, I'm making sure everything else is going smoothly. So I'm working with the venue, making sure tables are where they need to be, making sure the store, the registration is all happening, and of course, prize support. That's all there.
Now, how many people are actually here today? This is on a Saturday, so this is going to obviously be the biggest day for the convention, and this place is packed. It's absolutely packed with a bunch of people for different games. Do you know a roundabout of how much people are here today?
Yeah, totally. So Saturdays are almost always the biggest day for our events because that's when we have all game systems playing. We have 7 game systems playing right now. So we have everyone from 40K to Marvel Crisis Protocol, Star Wars Legion. We have around 320 people right now. There's a few drops, of course, as normal, but about 300 or so players. And it's crazy how awesome this hall is. This is actually where they do like livestock shows and stuff. So we're in the fairgrounds in Del Mar, and we're in one of their exhibit halls, and it's just such a cool venue for us. I mean, every Frontline Gaming venue is a little different, but this one's really cool because it's just a giant, like, massive hall. I don't know how else to describe it. And right over there's the beach. You know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a little bit raining today, but it's the sun's coming out. People are starting to get their dice rolls in. We're starting to see like the top tables over there at the stream station. So lots of really cool stuff going on here.
You have great players, but you also have just like beautiful armies. It's really a beauty pageant, right? People are coming here with the most beautiful armies to show off. So you have like great players playing like the highest level of 40K you can imagine, but you also just have like casual guys that have got armies they've worked on for 2 years that they want to show off and play. I'm definitely more the guy that, I'm an average Joe of a player, and one of the things I love about coming to a tournament is not only getting to play, but just play against a beautiful army.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so many pretty armies that are out there, and not just in 40K, but also for Age of Sigmar, Legion. Yeah.
You got to go check out the Legion tables. Like, they're so thematic. I mean, 40K, we really try to have functional tables, which is great for competitive play, but Star Wars Legion, like, the tables are just pretty to look at. I mean, anyone that's ever seen a Star Wars movie can appreciate those tables.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that is it for this interview. We'll check back in with you later on, probably tomorrow or later on today. But yeah, thank you for spending your time with us, and we'll see you guys around.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Obviously.
All right, welcome back. So we're gonna go back to our top tables right now.
Well, this is one of the things I love about SoCal. Just that little panning shot of the event. Just look at how much distance you get for your table. Like, you've got a paddock. Every table has a paddock around it.
Oh
You
yeah,
can easily double or triple the amount of tables in this venue.
yeah. I mean, obviously we're conforming to the rules of COVID and trying to maintain social distancing, but it's also actually just very comfortable to have that kind of room and not be elbow to elbow and bumping into people and potentially breaking models.
BO
yes, that too.
to BO.
All right, you went there. I mean, you're not wrong.
We all know what's up.
That's true. So, yeah, let's jump over to table one and see what's going on there.
Well, this is actually quite an interesting matchup. Now, this is two players, two of our top-ranked undefeated players, because these guys still have a very extremely good chance of making it to that top 8 bracket, that cutoff after the end of games today. This is Mr. Brian Pullen. For those of you who may know him, he's another guy. He's pretty hard to know of. Maybe you may not have heard of him. He's playing Dylan Melillo. Melillo.
Yeah, so he's not
Yeah,
undefeated. Both of these players have actually had one loss, is what he meant to say.
Yes,
but,
of course. Yeah.
But as the games are going, it looks like we could possibly have as many as 4 players with a loss in the top 8. That's very much in the cards.
Now, this is an interesting matchup because Dylan's running a pretty conventional, unconventional, Blood Angels list. He's got some Horus Heresy. 30K. Not 30K. He's got some Forge World Space Marine characters in his list. He's playing Red Scorpions as a matter of fact.
Red Scorpions, not even Blood Angels. The successor.
Well, yeah. He's playing them as Blood Angels, inheritors of the Prime Archangels. All the benefits of being Blood Angels when you're in fact successors. So yeah, we got Brian Pullen versus Dylan over there. Who's on table 2 for us?
On table 2, we have Marshall Peterson, who is playing Orcs, but not freebooters. He's a non-freebooter Orcs.
Non-freebooter Orcs. And he's playing into Mr. Scott Lafontaine, who's playing a Monster Mash Demon / Disciples of Bellicor list, which is actually quite spicy. And
then if we want to jump over to table 3, on table 3 we have, of course, Jason Kovetsky, who's playing a, you might say, Dread Knight heavy Grey Knight list. I mean, is 5 too many, or is it not enough?
Well, so I made a crazy prediction when I reviewed that codex that I bet you everyone plays Dread Knights when it comes out, but I bet you the best list that we're going to see come from it, say 3-6 months down the track, will be like 1 Nemesis Dread Knight, Grandmaster, the one that has all the tech and all the crazy problems, does like 1,000 points worth of work, and then just MSU power armor everywhere. And it's interesting. I'm hearing whispers and maybe getting close to that, but yeah, we're not quite there yet. There's 5 Dread Knights, a bunch of Interceptors, just the good Dread Knights, just the good Grey Knight stuff.
And he's playing, of course, Joel Wilson, who we saw previously was the upset.
Dude, the triple Dark Angels Terminated bricks seem to be doing work all of a sudden. We had him in, was it round 2 yesterday, playing up against a freebooters list, and he spanked it. He absolutely wrecked him. It was phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal.
Totally crushing.
Thanks to everybody in the chat who's joined us for this Game 5. Please spread the word, like, share, subscribe, get involved. Show Frontline Gaming that this is good content. You support it. You want them to invest in it so we can make this the biggest and
100%.
best produced stream for your viewing pleasure and for the the tickling of our artistic fancies, so to speak. I know Val wants as many resources as he can to just have more buttons and widgets going at all times. Which table do you want to start with, brother?
Okay, well, first of all, let's do some overhead predictions. So we have AdMech versus Blood Angels. We have Demons versus Orcs. Well, I guess more traditional Orcs. And then we have, of course, Grey Knights versus Dark Angels. Are you seeing any obvious winners out of these pairings?
I'm heavily going to be tipping Brian Pullen to win his game against the Blood Angels. I think Brian's list hits almost as hard as the Blood Angels in combat, but also has 2 or 3 times as much of a shooting phase as they do. So I think he should be heavily tipped to win in his favor. The Orcs versus Demons, I actually don't know. Having a look at the Orcs, they are quite a melee heavy Orc list into Demons, like Monster Mash Demons. That could very well go in the Demons' favor. And so that's an interesting one. I'm not quite sure. I want to see deployment first. I want to see what secondaries they've picked before I'm willing to call that one. Unless you got a better prediction, right?
So at least for the first 2 that we mentioned, I also am favoring Brian Pullen. I was unsure how he would play into that matchup because there are so many hammers in the Blood Angels list. But with Brian Pullen having 3 transports and essentially 35 Sicarians, I mean, he's going to control the engagements. And unfortunately, as you said, he hits at least as hard as most of these Blood Angel units. So
exactly right.
That's going to be a rough uphill fight.
The Book of Rust, or I can't remember which one it was, whichever one gave them the veteran cohort, was just buff Sicarians out the wazoo. Advanced charge, an extra attack, on top of also an extra attack CP. Got 2 strats for +1 attack. They already have, if they're Mars, they already have the canticles for extra charge and all those beautiful things. They have the Doctriners for the + to hit when they get there. They're just savages. Absolutely
They're
savage.
so good. They're
it's insane.
They're beyond efficient. So then in game 2, it's hard to say. I'm gonna lean Demons just because I think Orcs is gonna have a little trouble hitting above their weight. But then on table 3, I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, I'm pulling for Dark Angels. Man.
I'm pulling for the Dark Angels. I think they match up. This we talked about this this mission being very good for their style of list. For those who don't know, we'll head over to table 1 straight away and give you the call there. But to break down this mission for you guys, SoCal is just running it in order. So there's 9 games at SoCal running from the start to the finish. We're at mission number 5, that being Battle Lines. So this is a Hammer and Anvil 4 objective mission with a decent secondary. It's a Control 1, Control 2, of course. It's only 4 objectives, but the big bricks, the big 10-man bricks of Terminators, just being able to get to a mid-board objective and be, hey, I'm so super hard to kill. I can be reinforced from my backfield. I'm just going to take these 2 objectives and shoot Stormbolters and Cyclones onto the 3rd objective, and I'm just going to win this primary. In fact, by winning this primary, I'm just going to win the game. The secondary here is Vital Ground. At the end of each command phase, you score 3 victory points if you control the objective markers in your opponent's deployment zone, and score 2 victory points for each of the objective markers that you control that is not in either player's deployment zone, e.g. the 2 in No Man's Land. Do you think this is going to play a big factor in all these games?
So we're looking at the secondaries right now, and it looks like Brian Pullen has chosen Stranglehold, Eradication of the Flesh, and Retrieve Octarius Stare. Praise Rod, of course.
Praise Rod.
So Stranglehold is an interesting choice for this. I guess he's expecting to just be dominating on the objectives for most of the game. Or at the very least, because you need to just hold more than your opponent, control 2, and just wipe out something on the 3rd objective almost every time. Rod is pretty obvious. He definitely has the mobility and the units to get Rod as easily as he can. And then Eradication of the Flesh, he has transports, I think, are the only vehicles he actually has. And I'm not sure I like this choice, because the vehicles I feel are going to have all of his melee units, and I think the Blood Angels has to go after them. Otherwise, that he's going to just control all the engagements. So I'm wondering, will he be able to maintain that the whole game?
Well, exactly right. How does the Blood Angels player effectively pop a transport and then get at the guys that come out? It's actually going to be quite a big issue for him to try and de-mech him and then account for the units. What do you think is going to be starting inside it? Because I thought it would be the Sterilizers and maybe 1 or 2 units of the Rushwalkers.
Well, it couldn't be the Sterilizers because they have jetpacks, so then they can't start.
I thought they could go in there.
I don't.
Unless they
I might be
change that.
wrong. I might be wrong.
Definitely prior to this codex, I know for a fact they could go in there, and they only took up space of one model. So unless that's changed, I'll have a quick look.
Okay, well, I would expect, depending on, regardless of what the answer to that is, I would expect the sterilizers to be in the sky because they're actually an amazing scalpel to get rid of any of the Blood Angels' backfield of holding units, essentially. The only thing he has to worry about is, obviously, the Infiltrator is having a bubble where he can't deep strike. But
exactly
I'm expecting 2 of these transports at least to have 10 Ruststalkers in them, because then there's no problem of engagements at all.
Especially in this matchup, I think the Ruststalkers make the most sense, simply because, how does he get to him? He can't get to him. He can't stop him. They can just do whatever they want. I would like to point out the Dune Rider, maybe an oversight by G-Dub. The transport just reads just 12 infantry models. Doesn't say anything about jetpacks, doesn't say anything about fly or jump, nothing. Just 12 infantry models.
Well, it's got like the open top, so maybe the wings like come out the top of it, so then it's fine.
Yeah, exactly right. You see it's really cute here what these two gentlemen have done with their infiltrators. Like, so on the Imperium side of things, on the Space Marine side of things, he's put up some incursors or infiltrators on his right block so they can't be seen by his opponent. And Brian's mirrored him with some infiltrators in exactly the same position on his side of that wall. It's pretty cute.
They're all there, and they're like, "Stay away."
Yeah, exactly. Did you give us the full rundown of the AdMech list? Do you want me to do the Red Scorpions?
I didn't go through the full list, but I can right now. So Brian Pullen, let's talk about this list, because of course it's a Skitarii veteran cohort, and of course it's Mars, because honestly, if you're running the veteran cohort, there's no reason not to be Mars to get Canicles and to get Doctrinas. He's taking a Skitarii Marshal with, of course, Exemplar's Eternity, which the aura rerolls. He's got another Skitarii Marshal, who of course has the Cantic Thrallnet, which allows him to reduce the CP of certain stratagems. And then a Tech Priest Manipulus, which is one of the best support characters in that army. He has 1 unit of 5 Rangers, 1 unit of 20 Rangers, and another unit of 5 Rangers, and then 1 unit of 20 Vanguard and 1 unit of 5 Vanguard. So plenty of troops, including 2 big bricks. And then the meat and potatoes, which is 5 infiltrators, 5 infiltrators, 5 Ruststalkers, 10 Ruststalkers, 10 Ruststalkers. Oh my.
It's absurd. It's absurd. They're so good.
And if that wasn't enough, he also has a unit of 10 sterilizers, a unit of the token Cerberus Raiders, 2 units of token Cerberus Raiders, and then 3 Scorpius Dune Riders. I love this list. First of all, it's leaning Sicarians, which I love, even though they may be a little bit overpowered right now, one might say. Undercosted.
Yes, undercosted, overpowered, far too good, far too potent. Just incredible for the points. Looks like we're still in deployment phase right now as well. So I'll give you guys a quick rundown of the Blood Angels list, or the, quote-unquote Red Scorpions list.
Scorpions, how dare you.
Starts off with 2 company vets. Then he's got Kassan Sabius, apologies, a Sang Priest, Severin Loth. So he's taken 2 of the Red Scorpion special characters, both of which are actually quite good into this meta. I'll unpack them a little bit when we get to the end. He's then got 5 Assault Intercessors, a unit of Incursors, a unit of Infiltrators, 5 Blade Guard Veterans, a unit of 10 Death Company with 3 Thunderhammers in there, the rest of them with Chainswords, a Relic Contemptor Dreadnought, of course, with the Volkite, but in addition also has the Cyclone Missile Launcher, a single Redemptor, a unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Sanguinary Guard, and then a unit of 5 Vanguard Veterans. 2,000 points on the nose. Now, a couple of things to unpack here. So, Red Scorpions, you might be scratching your head, what are they? They are a 30k chapter. They came in the Badab War series of books, and they've been, you get access to these special characters with some suggestions of how to play them. These are noted to be suggested to play with ultra range chapter tactics, but you are not beholden to do that by any means. You play them whatever you want. And so this gentleman has taken them as Inheritors of the Primarch, e.g. they play as Blood Angels. Now, the 2 special characters here, that's where you go.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, so the special characters are an interesting choice, and we should go through them quickly, because it looks like they're starting their turn 1. You were saying that Sabius is very much like a Chapter Master, but he's got one unique ability, which is...
he
Plus one
points it.
attack.
So in addition to being a chapter master, to point at somebody and get rerolls, he points it at another unit and gives him plus one attack. So these 3 bombs that he's got, e.g. the Death Company, which he may choose to combat squad, I would in his position.
No.
Because I think 5 Death Company with plus one attack kill anything that Brian has in his whole army, except maybe a 20-man, in which case, whatever. And so I think that's why he's got the level of units he has, because he only needs one of everything when he gets all the buffs on. The other one that he's got is, what's his name?
Severin Loth.
Psyker. Severin Loth, exactly right. So this is a Psyker that is especially high-powered into other Psykers. It gives rerolls to wound. So essentially, in the command phase, point at a unit and they'll get rerolls to wound in combat versus a Psyker unit. So really, really, really good at killing Dread Knights, at killing blocks of, 10 Scarab Cult Terminators, things of that ilk. Killing Bellicor, sorry, you don't get rerolls against Bellicor. Never mind. You get the idea.
Yes.
Stuff of that nature.
So clearly, before we jump over to table 2 here, clearly he was thinking that he was going to have to tech harder into Thousand Suns maybe and Grey Knights, who we talked about previously, maybe weren't, their books may have just been a little bit too new. So why don't we jump over to table 2 here?
Sorry, apologies. Hobby Hammer's just pointed out you can't combat squad Death Company. You're absolutely right.
You can't, no.
Yeah,
I think they go up to 15 as well.
Yeah, you can't combat squad any noted chapter-specific units, to my knowledge.
Yeah, well, they have to have combat squad's ability. That's correct.
Exactly right. Well, I know you can't do it with Wolfguard and stuff of that ilk as well. No. Which table are we on right now? We are on the Jason with the Grey Knights versus Joel on the Dark Angels. And no, never mind. This is the Demons versus
Orcs.
It is on for young and old already.
Okay, so let's go through. I'll go through the Orcs list real quick because this is a bit of a more, let's say, old school Orcs list. So he's running Goths, so he has a big boss on Squigascore with, of course, Brutable Cunning and Headwalk has Kill Choppa. So he's not, of course, like we saw before, running the Beasttide Mantle for the extra defense. He's going full offense with this character. He's got 1 unit of Beast Nagaboys. He's got 2 units of Commandos, which Commandos big actually
units. Big units of Commandos.
Full 10 units of 10-man Commandos, because they and Goths are actually really mean. Especially because they become strength 5 and they get the +1 to wound when they're near, not even in, just near a terrain structure of any kind. That's awesome. He's got 1 kill rig in that detachment as well. And then he's got a second detachment of Goths, another beast boss on Squigasore who has Artist Nails and the Beasttide Mantle. So that's his full tank one, obviously. 2 units of Beast Nagaboys. Another unit of full Commandos, and 2 more kill rigs. So obviously all 3 units of Beast Boys are going into 3 kill rigs, which triple kill rig, we have yet to see it really like assess the meta and if that's still a play. They are very big because they are on a night base, so we'll have to see. And then he's got one last little small detachment with it's Snake Bites. So he's got Mozrog Scragbad, who's the special character on Beast Boss on Squigasore. So 3 Beast Bosses on Squigasore.
Yeah, man.
Very
terrifying.
Coming right at you type style. With 1 unit of boys for troops and then 2 minimum Squighog boys. So, and then
and lastly, and so is that 3 units of 3 Squighogs, 3 units of 10 Commandos, 3 units of 10 Beast Nagger boys, 3 kill rigs, and then 3 essentially 3 Beast Boss on Squigasores?
Only 2 units of Squighog boys, but the rest was correct.
That's a fun list. That's fun as hell. Everybody.
Very aggressive. That is
very aggressive.
We don't waste time.
Well, this is a great matchup between these two. Well, the only reason I think this might be a rough matchup one way or another, because I think one of these guys is going down like a ton of bricks, because they're both ultra killy, ultra aggressive. This playing into Mr. Scott LaFontaine, who starts off with a Disciples of Bellicor detachment. Oh, no, sorry, apologies. It's a Chaos Undivided battalion. He's got Bellicor, he's got the Unkillable Lord of Change, that being Incorporeal Form, Impossible Robe, who is his Warlord in addition, with Aura of Mutability. Boxbringer, 3 by 3 Nurglings, 2 single beasts of Nurgle, which I'm a big fan of. Then he has another battalion, this one of Slanesh. This one has 3 Keepers of Secrets, 3 into 10 Demonettes, and 2 Fiends. And that's the whole damn list, my man.
Okay, so the interesting thing is I was thinking that Orcs going into this was going to have a bit of a dilemma because they wouldn't be able to hit above their weight with regards to Slanesh. But honestly, the 30 Commandos can probably kill a Keeper in almost one go.
Yeah, dude, with Goffs to back him up for the exploding sixes in addition, and the extra strength. Well, the extra strength doesn't really matter that much,
Well,
but it's
no,
just
but the
going to
plus
be
one to
so
wound.
many.
It's the
So
plus one to wound.
Exactly. It's just going to be so many attacks winning on fours. I think we've already seen a keeper go down. If I'm being opportunistic, we can see the unkillable order change. We can see 2 keepers, and we can see Be'lakor still on the table. Got some Nurglings holding the backfield for the demon player. It looks like there is a unit of commandos being invested in by Be'lakor. In addition, there's a couple of units of two fiends just to the left.
Yeah.
Of
So
that
let's
unit as well.
let's go through the secondaries real quick. It looks like Orcs is running Assassination, obvious choice. There are so many greater demons that are all characters, and he has to kill them. You essentially can't choose not to fight them, especially
right.
the keepers, because the keepers are like insanely fast. He's got Vital Ground. Now, do you think this is a good choice for him if he's going to be playing aggressively?
Look, Vital Ground is a confidence pick here. It could be a win more in this situation. Between these two ultra-aggressive armies, if you are getting any decent Vital Ground points, it means you're winning pretty dominantly, right?
Oh, of course. And I mean, like, I think that what he's trying to go for here is...
okay. Apologies. Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, I can see where the last keeper is. I was thinking it was under the wings of the Lord of Change, but I couldn't quite make out for sure because the player's arms were over him when I was doing the call. It looks like there's one there. There's one below Be'lakor, and I think the third one is just above the lock.
Is there,
you see where the Lord of Change is, the big bird.
You
just
think there's like
the big
one
bird?
there?
There's a big base right next to that guy. I think that's where the last one is.
Right there. Essentially, that's probably the other keeper.
Is your assumption here that the demons have gone first? That's what I'm seeing right now.
It looks like the demons have gone first, yes. And obviously we have commandos here right in the center. We have one unit of commandos here on the side.
Well, he's used the commandos He's used the commandos so far to gum up the movement lanes for the demons, so they can't get past the center line in their turn one, regardless of who goes first or second.
So that's an interesting choice, because I thought that one of the commandos were actually going to be one of his best assets to actually inflict damage on the keepers, and now he's going to be losing, it looks like, 2 squads of them turn one.
Well, I actually think everything he's got is good in melee here. Like, Beast Snagger boys are just good here. They've just got enough attacks. So the kill rigs do decent shooting, and they've got enough psychic to shut down the psychic phase somewhat. And then the three beast bosses on Scrigosaur, they could all do significant damage here at the drop of a hat.
Absolutely. I didn't. That is true. He's probably relying more on his characters more than anything to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and anything that you can do to stall the greater demons from essentially gaining free movement is probably a good idea.
Yeah. See, I was right. See the last keepers up on just above that big blocky ruin to the left of the lock.
Yeah, just like right over there.
Yeah, because I thought the only way the keeper would have gone down if the Orcs went first, but if the Orcs went first, they would have left their deployment zone. So it didn't make sense.
Sneaky, right there.
Sneaky. Yep. Slanesh is cheeky.
I think what he was trying to do, pairing. I'm not sure. I think it may have been too much of a confidence pick to pick Engage and Vital Ground, because obviously that means he's expecting to push straight through the demon army in the center. That's the only way he's going to score points. And that might come back to bite him, but let's see what
in the same breath, Scott, the demon player, took to the last and took Engage North Fronts as well. Engage North Fronts, not a bad pick, but to the last, that's a big confidence pick. I'm believing that's be Be'lakor, the Lord of Change, and one of the keepers.
The blue keeper is his last.
So the one below Be'lakor, essentially the one in the safest place. Which
I'm assuming it's that one there. Yeah.
Yeah. Be'lakor is going to be very hard to kill in this game, I believe. It's going to be extremely hard to kill in this game.
Actually, I disagree. Know why?
Yeah?
Because he has kill rigs who auto-hit with las cannons.
Oh, that's true. I forgot they auto-hit. Why do they auto-hit? God damn.
Because it's laser beams. How dare you?
Okay. I've been trying to justify... a Black Templars player, yeah? I love my Land Raider Crusader. I've been trying to look for a freaking reason to take it. And for 70 points less, you get a kill rig, which is better than a Land Raider Crusader in every conceivable fashion.
Okay, so
it's a psyker, it's a transport, it shoots better, it kills better, it's almost as durable. The only difference is it has one less armor save.
You forgot about the back half. It's also a character.
Yeah.
So then you can stick it near an objective and Heroic Intervene. It's also a character, so it fights on death.
Yeah.
It's
Pour
amazing.
Pour one out for the Land Raiders, guys. Pour one out. Their day is long past. We may never see their like again.
No, kill rigs are incredible. There was clearly a push for them with regards to the rules to basically have them better in almost every way to battle wagons. And
jumping into the chat, Neil Curtis just joined us from Malmo. Gave him weekend. Hopefully you're having a phenomenal weekend there with your mates, brother. And thanks for jumping in the chat. Thank you to everybody who's jumped in the chat and has supported us thus far. Please let us know if there's anything we can improve about this stream. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Jump on. There's some phenomenal streaming coverage going on. You should all get involved. Tell all your mates. Post it up on Facebook. Really
Okay.
appreciate all your support.
So let's jump to table 3 and see what's going on there.
So table 3 has our Jason Kavetsky versus Joel Wilson. So that is the Grey Knights versus Dark Angels. Now we're both rooting for the Dark Angels, yeah?
Joel needs no introduction. He's a boss. He did something we never expected.
We did not expect.
It looks like the Grey Knights did go first, which actually, I'm caught. I don't know if that's the better option for them. I don't know if they even wanted to go first, because I think they may have wanted to see some movement from the Terminators to determine where they had to commit.
Yeah. So it's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty easy to see what's going to happen with the Terminators. They're going to pick 2 objectives. They're going to have one block of 10 on one block of 10 on the other, and then they're going to have one block straddling the 2 that can support either way. It looks like it's pretty much exactly playing out as it would, because this is exactly how I'd play that matchup.
Stubborn Defiance with Oath of the Moment. There you go.
There we go.
You did the combo.
That's the pick. You did it. Because Stubborn Defiance, well, he gets just 15 points for sitting on his home objective. That's out of line of sight, and then
There's no way.
-1 down.
I
What are you
can't
gonna do?
see a conceivable way that the Grenades could ever deny that. Not with
Exactly
10-man blocks. There's no way.
Nah, as long as it's got 2 CP, you can't kill it, because what do? You chuck in 2 Dread Knights. Cool, one of them swings, kills 2 Termies, interrupt, other one's dead. Possibly even killing both with the return swing.
And we need to clarify the reason we favor the Dark Angels so much in this matchup is because obviously the Dark Angels had Grey Knights in mind. The reason why, first he has Lazarus for an aura of 5+ feel no pain against mortal wounds, which is a big deal. But then also the Apothecary in addition to that. So and 10-man blocks. And he's got Chain Fists, which means, if you don't know, Dread Knights are vehicles, which means if they engage in combat, they're going to basically do nothing. They'll die immediately. So
Exactly right. Just had to put it out in chat, the volume is changing when the casters are on stream versus when the table/game is being shown. Yeah, it's really loud when they change to the casting table versus gaming table. Which one's too loud, guys? Is it the casting table or the stream of the actual games? Please let us know in chat, and we'll see if we can get that altered. And thanks very much for letting us know, guys. But yeah, this Terminator list is really teched into this matchup. In addition to that, I don't know if many people know about Lazarus very much, but he can go and kill a Dread Knight Grandmaster by himself. He's an absolute god.
Oh, because he gets bonuses against Psychers, doesn't he?
He does. I'll give you the quick lowdown on him, because he's a really sneaky tech piece that I think a lot more, especially any Space Marine player should know about this guy, and a lot more Dark Angels players should be just chucking him in here, there, and everywhere. So he is only 110 points. He's like 60 points cheaper than Azrael. He's moving, hit weapon skill, bliss skill 2 plus a core, strength of toughness 4, 6 wounds, 5 attacks in combat. Yeah, strength +2, -2, 2 damage. Doesn't sound like much. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, it's allocated to a Psycho model. The attack's damage is changed to 4.
Yeah.
So he's six attacks on the charge, hitting on 2s, winning on 4s, flat damage 4, and he always fights on death, even if he dies.
Yes.
So you can suicide in to that 3+ invulnerable save for Grandmaster, half kill him, let yourself die, and kill him the rest of the way on death. He's phenomenally good value for 110 points.
Well, I think also a major problem. Now you could correct me if I'm wrong, but the Nemesis Great Swords are also damage. They are damage 3 when they are not sweeping, correct? Or are they still damage D6?
That's actually a good question. I might pull that up really quickly, because I thought they were D3 +3.
Oh,
maybe I'm completely
I thought
driven.
I could be wrong. I thought they were damage 3 and then they became damage 2 when they sweep. Or maybe it's damage 3 when they sweep. I don't know.
The damage 2 on the sweep is so good, man.
It's so good. I mean,
it's so damn good.
I don't think there's a really, unless you are taking a Grandmaster or something, there's really a reason to not take swords on all regular Dread Knights. It gives their utility.
Exactly right. Well, I've got it right here. So, Great Sword. So the Mighty Strike is D6. Yeah, Strength +4, -3 D6. You're absolutely correct, mate. It was the Great Hammer is a D3 +3. I was thinking.
Yeah. So actually, this is another reason why we favor the Dark Angels in this matchup. Not only do, of course, because it's Dark Angels and they are Deathwing, do they have the permanent transhuman, but they have Storm Shields, and if you sweep against them, you're either 2 damage, which is inefficient against Terminators, or 1 damage. Yep. And if you do major hits, then you're D6 damage, which could be D6 -1, which is also very inefficient against this
just
army.
Getting cut in half by the Transhuman and by the Storm Shields.
Yeah,
so
it's
just got no good value opportunities. The best thing he can do is just target all the so he's got 3 blocks. Yeah. Sorry, I'll just run you down the list. Why? Adam, jumping ahead, doing all this crazy stuff. Here is the Dark Angel list. Is a single Vanguard detachment of Dark Angels, of course. Starts off with Ezekiel with Mindworm, Aversion, Engulfing Fear. See, I've questioned the addition of Ezekiel because if you're taking into anti-Psyker,
Yes,
you want
I
the
agree.
option to take a Witch. It seems like counterintuitive, but maybe he's got a plan. He's got Lazarus, of course, a Blade Guard Ancient with the -1 to damage banner, a unit of 6 Blade Guard Veterans, and then 1, 2, 3 fatty 10-man units of Deathwing Termies, each one packing 5 Thunderhammer Storm Shields, and then 5 guys with Chain Fists, 2 of which have Cyclone Missile Launchers in addition. And then lastly, of course, Ravenwing Apothecary to round it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's an indomitable list. It's something that's like it's all blocks. It's all big, heavy blocks that are so hard to get rid of. And I mean, that's why we saw it was so effective. Besides just being in the forest against freebooters, because there's no easy target for them to unlock that bonus. So then, with the Grey Knights, though, I mean, this is just there's no efficiencies anywhere for the Grey Knights, especially
exactly right.
with Lazarus.
The only thing they've got dynamic movement. They've got a way to jump around the table and get a bunch of better secondary points, essentially. Try and get engaged, lock down those things, try and get Rod. But the issue is, though, I think there's 2 near auto 15 secondaries locked in for the Dark Angels player. Stubborn Defiance is going to be 15 points, and it's going to be hard pressed to hold Oath off of a minimum 10. Call out to Murphy Stanley in the chat. Thank you so much for your support, dude. Still, I don't know enough about American, broadcasting television, but he says still better announcers than ESPN, TBS, and FS Sports. So,
oh hell,
I'm assuming that's nice.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing with regards to your comment with regards to the mobility and the dynamism of the Grey Knights. My problem is that we underestimated the value of the shooting that the Deathwing has. I mean, they were cleaning up buggies and planes it was
and
nothing.
Planes. Like we were saying, he's lucky to kill a plane a turn with the 6 Cyclones, and then he was killing a plane in a buggy every turn. Plane in a buggy, plane in a buggy, plane in a buggy every turn.
And so, against this army, I'm almost wondering, because he leaned so heavily into Dread Knights, will he have the assets to actually live and capture enough of the objective points that he needs to survive against these Terminators? Because they will kill an entire strike squad or interceptor squad in one shooting phase. There's
exactly
no doubt.
Right. So Psychic Interrogation, is it okay pick? I mean, keep your guy who's going to do that outside 24. Lazarus, not Lazarus. Of Ezekiel, of course, if you can, and then you can just get those points pretty safe. Engage is going to be a safe, probably min 9, and then Retrieve is probably just going to get a 12. But that is less than what I see. Joe's starting. He's starting at 15, almost banked already for Stubborn Defiance. Vital Ground is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points minimum, possibly a bit more. So I'm seeing Joel is almost at a minimum of 10 of 35 on his secondaries already, and then his primary is probably a pretty safe 40 minimum.
Well, that's the thing that's interesting, is that because it's a 4 objective mission, this is actually very bad for the Grey Knights, because typically, if it was 5+ objectives, or even if it was the previous mission with 6 objectives, then he could at least put Dread Knights with the mobility on enough objectives to be scoring higher primary every turn, but he doesn't even have that option in this matchup. So.
And here's the other thing: despite the small, he's only got 3 relevant squads in his list, he's got so much more OBSEC than the other guy. Than Joel. Do you want to go down Joel's list, or you want me to quickly do it?
I mean, everybody knows what it is, and I think you went over it earlier with regards to the 3 blocks of Terminator. With the Grey Knights.
The Grey Knights, they've got.
You mean Jason's list? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, apologies. The Grey Knight list. So he's
Jason's
got
list.
a techie, the problem for everybody, Grandmaster and Dread Knight armor. Only 5 strikes. That 5 strikes is the entirety of his OBSEC. Because what you would want to do with this in this objective, I've played this as the Dark Angels a million times now as battle line. You load up, and then you make one big OBSEC push onto the Stubborn Defiance objective, give him a 5, kill Stubborn Defiance, and that's the win. That's the game condition win. That's how you win the game. This man doesn't have the OBSEC to do it. He literally doesn't have enough models to do it.
And for the rest of his army, I mean, the fact he has 2 Nemesis Dread Knight Grandmasters and 3 regular Nemesis Dread Knights that all have the same loadout of swords plus Psy Cannon and Gatling Silencer, which is good. I mean, it's the redundancy of extra damage, but he only has 3 Interceptor squads. And I'm like, he's going to commit 1 or 2 of them turn 1 and 2 in order to try and get engaged, and then they're gone forever.
He's spamming Rend 1 and Rend 2 weapons, man.
Yeah. against Terminators,
into
possibly encumbered.
zero up armor Terminators. You can't do any damage from range. When you get close, your stuff just dies. This is just a nightmare scenario for the Grey Knights, I believe.
I like, as we pointed out before, I think the real crux to this though is the introduction of Lazarus is just a major issue.
Exactly right. You can't even get within, like, keep that 18-inch barrier and just be like smite, 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 smite. Hold still, smite, 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 smite. Because every time, like, for every 3 smites that go through, so every 3 knights, like every 9 mortal wounds, you lose 3 of them to Lazarus, and then 3 of them get res next turn from the apothecary. So for every, like, essentially like 5 smites you get through, you get 3 mortal wounds of net damage. You know,
you kill 1 Terminator who gets who maybe doesn't even die. That's
if you get 3s. That's if you get 3s, man. It's actually horrible.
All right, so let's jump over to table 1 real quick and see where they're going.
Exactly right. Look at these guys. So for those of you following at home, that is Brian Pullen from Tabletop Titans. Go over there and give him a like and subscribe if you have not already. Wonderful ambassadors of the game and some wonderful gentlemen producing some very high quality content. How do you see this guy? It looks like, to me, holy crap, look at this pincer move. Look at it. It's terrifying. It looks to me like that Brian's gone first, yeah?
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Yeah,
so there's your answer of where the sterilizers are, and there are Sicarians all over the place. So this is gonna be rough.
Get off the table, Brian. You're wobbling it.
So clearly, as we established early, Brian's plan here, especially with the secondaries that he chose, is to just absolutely swamp the board turn 1 and just never lose it.
He has so many more units. He has so many more models. He has so much more power. Like, when you are just the better list, when you have just the better faction dominance and you go first, you're just like, well, not leaving this up to chance. In they go. Everything's in. Everything's going for it.
The bottom line is that this comes down to what a lot of people describe in 9th edition as a trade system. And the bottom line is that Brian Pullen's list has so much greater efficiency with the trading of his units and just more. He just has more stuff. And even if the Blood Angels, say the Blood Angels were swinging above their weight, and they're able to kill 2 of these valuable units a turn, that's still not enough. There's still so much redundancy that he can't hold.
Exactly. The only issue I'll say for Brian is he may not have wanted to put all his high-value units out the front. It looks like he's got a unit of 10 Rustalkers just in front of everything in the middle of the table, and the same thing at the bottom of the board also. To my mind, there's still enough shooting. It's still enough shooting from this Blood Angels list to, neuter 2 of those units, e.g. between a Redemptor and a Volkite Contemptor. He can neuter 2 units of Sicarans, enough that he can fight on 2 fronts and fight against two units.
Now, I think
this is the thing, though. You're absolutely right, though. By this move by Brian, the Blood Angels need to have a full commit turn. They have to commit everything this turn, and there's going to be an interrupt. There's going to be some fights last, and it's just going to get rough.
I'm assuming that right here is the unit of a unit of Ruststalkers that has the Tempercordia, the fight last relic. I'm assuming that's them right there, and they're like, "Come get some," because where does Blood Angels commit? They can't get this objective. I don't see how it's possible for them to get this objective. There's no assets.
Yeah, they got 1 unit of 5 guys. I'm assuming it looks like the Vanguard vets down there, and behind that's the Dreadnought. Yeah, so obviously all the shooting goes into the Temporal Corpora unit. Yeah, you shoot the Temporal Corpora unit, you do not charge it. That's a waste of models. It's a waste of Marines, and you invest possibly the I think is it the Sangard up in the top left behind that those crates?
That looks like Sangard right there, and it looks like this is Death Company and Vanguard veterans here.
Yeah, and Vanguard vets are I thought the Vanguard vets are the ones in the bottom left.
Oh, you think this is because they have jetpacks. They look like they have jetpacks.
And they're the 5 men. So I'm assuming that's them there.
I mean,
Sangard in the top.
Death Company would have so Blade Guard vets there.
I forgot he's got Blade Guard. I forgot he had those. But even this list, like 5 assault intercessors can do a lot of damage here with Blood Angels. They'll be winning on 2s into just about every infantry model. And they've got a bucket of attacks. They can do just fine in a lot of assumptions. Yeah, Vanguard veterans were sitting with the Redemptor in the bottom left. But they're going to cop some mortals. You'll see what has happened at the bottom left. He's got a unit of Mars Cerberus Raiders, a 5-man. They might Fury of Mars. Yeah, they might Fury of Mars and try and pick up some of the Vanguard vets. And then you're right, the Vanguard vets get compromised or even deleted. That bottom middle objective is just Brian's until the end of time.
Well, and the worst part about this as well is because, of course, we know that the Cerberus Raiders have the ability to fall back when they're declared as a charge. And that would essentially deny that entire corner from any kind of combat, which means that next turn, if he doesn't use his Dreadnought to block the Cerberus Raiders, they can literally sweep up that entire side and start picking off characters.
Exactly
That's
right.
a serious problem.
So we just had somebody asked, Greedy Hammers asked, how is the entire AdMech army in the enemy deployment turn 1? So first and foremost, the vast majority of Qatari models get a scout move turn 1, as in a 3-inch move, and then things like Cerberus Raiders just innately move a bucket of inches, and in addition, can get some. Is there a canticle or a dogma to give them plus move? Is that
There
correct?
is a Doctrina that gives them +3 to move, but it reduces their armor save, which of course we know against the Blood Angels is kind of a moot point.
It's
Now,
kind of a moot point. They're punching
the one advantage, as we talked about earlier, with regards to the AdMech against the Blood Angels, is that the AdMech can pop the ignore AP -1 and 2 on a unit, which beyond the Sanguinary Guard, if he's not in the Assault Doctrine, that's all he has is AP -1 and 2, which is a serious problem. So,
it is, yeah. I do like his Oh, sorry, you go.
No, sorry. It's just interesting because it looks like he's actually full committing to the center. He's actually committed to a charge already with the Ruststalkers. So
crazy to think he made
or
that
that's
charge.
infiltrators. That's a unit of infiltrators there.
So those would be infiltrators that were in the bottom on the bottom middle that were behind that barrier. So they
Right
didn't
there,
have a big
yeah.
charge. They just walked up their whatever inches into the middle. They probably
it's
would have got
7
a
or
pretty
8 inch
comfy
move,
charge.
I believe. 8-inch move, I believe. Yeah.
So it would have been a pretty comfy charge in there. And they're likely. I mean, that's Ruststalkers. That's a unit of 5 Ruststalkers.
Oh, okay. So that's the small unit of Ruststalkers. Maybe they
Hmm.
either came out of a vehicle or they just had the movement and made a long bomb charge. Who knows?
For those of you who don't know what Ruststalkers do, just be aware. Everything. Whatever they want.
They're hyper efficient. They have a lot of attacks. They have strength 5 power swords, and they do 6s to mortal that are mortal wounds on the wound phase. They're very, very good. And clearly, as we saw, this is Death Company here, and maybe he's just trying to take a chunk out of not only the Death Company, but also down here he's made another charge into the unit of Vanguard vets, and he's killing the infiltrators that are here, which is the only forward units that he had.
That's ridiculous. So at the bottom into the Vanguard vets is where the infiltrators went from that ruined wall in the middle of the table.
Yes,
exactly right. Just absolutely terrifying.
I mean, swamping.
Terrifying.
This is like textbook swamping.
Well,
I mean,
I keep waiting for every AdMech list to have this many Sakarans in it, because I just think it is. Oh my god, it's so strong. It's so terrifyingly good, man.
Now he could have, Mars I think is probably the more apt and technical choice for the army, especially if you're running veteran cohort. But imagine the flex going against a Blood Angel player and charging his whole army basically turn 1. If he was Ryza, who's also basically Blood Angels, I mean that would just be rude.
So the only issue here is the commitment to 2 fronts means that there is a possible interrupt. Which you would do. If you are the Blood Angels player, hands down, every time you are just going to freaking interrupt. You have to. Yeah, let's hit it. Take us to the Orcs versus Demons, please, on table 2. I'd love to see what has happened after it's all said and done, after Demon turn 1. No commandos.
Yeah, I mean, that was to be expected. I mean, commandos, they have 6+ saves, unless they're in your cover, which they only get the advantage of in the shooting phase, somewhat in the combat phase, but...
Yeah. So what's going to be difficult here is differentiating units. So because the commandos and the beast hogs and the regular truck boys, they can all look exactly the same, can't they? For us at least.
Yeah, especially color palette wise. I mean, clearly the Orcs has a lot of red and blue, and also the Demons have a lot of red and blue. So we're seeing a straight committal. So interesting how they place this terrain in the center. I wonder if the Mech can tell us whether or not those actually they can pass through those or not. I'm assuming they can with infantry. Because otherwise, those are massive roadblocks.
They're massive roadblocks, and it'd be very clever. See what's done with that is gummed it up with demonettes in the middle of the board. That'd be a very clever thing to do, to make sure that the kill rigs, the beast, well, especially the beast bosses, can't make it through there this turn to get in on greater demons. But yeah, it looks like the subtotal is the 2 units of commanders got picked up in that phase. We haven't seen a score update as of yet, but we should see a couple of points trickle through for Scott after the end of his turn 1. Going into the bottom of turn 1, I'm expecting big things to happen for the Orcs. Like this is a very similar position to the AdMech, the Brian Pullen game. Just a huge investment of pretty much every available asset being pushed forward as fast as it can go. With the exception though of these 2 keepers, which are sitting back. I love having that unkillable order change in this matchup and just pushing into your opponent's face. face and being like, well, it's killing enough in combat to pick up a 5-man pretty easy. It dumps out like 2d3,
debatable.
3d3
But-
mortal wounds. But a 5-man unit of Orcs with no save, it should take him out. So and it puts out 3d3, 4d3 mortal wounds on a very good day. But you can't kill it. You really can't kill it. You could put. You'd have to put 2 or 3 of the beast bosses to go in and actually pick it up in one turn.
Yeah, the best options are probably the beast boss with Headwap's Kill Choppa and the Squighog boys throwing the bomb squigs into it to just deal mortal wounds to get past the impossible rope. Now I've just heard that these are not breachable. Yeah, which means they are massive roadblocks. So everything's going to be fought probably in this center space and maybe one flank.
Such a huge deal going first in this one for these 2 melee-based armies. Whoever gets into those little melee canals first and gums them up and gets to take that position, it's such a good position, such a good spot.
Now, the advantage that the Demons player has, of course, is that Bellicor and the Lord of Change both fly. So they have the advantage of never getting gummed up in those works and essentially being able to assault any targets they want.
I'm just going to point out that so much of this is on the Demon's favor simply due to being Slaanesh. Like, he has so much Fights Last. He just has Fights Last. So
Fights First, yeah.
Sorry, that's what I mean. Apologies. They do have Fights Last as well. But the Orcs need to fight on so many different fronts in order to win this that the Slaanesh just becomes such a factor.
Yeah, I feel like if the Demons player in almost every engagement, at least with the Keepers, maybe with the Demonettes as well, is going to basically be favorable in most of those combats. I feel like the only way that the Squig bosses are going to be able to get through that many Keepers and maybe the Kill Rigs as well is to just dogpile them or not worry about combat at all and hope that the Kill Rigs can essentially do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Exactly right. We had a Vercingetorix 2 ask about what AdMech plans are to handle freebooters. Are you talking about specifically about Brian Pullen's list against freebooters? Because I think that's what beat him, because he's taken a loss. So that's the plan so far, is to lose.
Yeah, I feel like
take that, Brian.
Yeah, well, putting Brian on blast, that's rude. But
oh man, he's about to get 100 points. I'm not letting him off light.
Yeah, that's true. And he is playing AdMech, so there's only so much forgiveness. But he's not playing 4 planes, which gives a lot of credit.
Yeah, that's true. But that's what I mean. Like, the 4 planes is far better into the freebooters than his infantry style list.
I think too much of that relies on him going first, because if he does go first, he could potentially swamp, depending on deployments, swamp into as many as 2 to 4 of the Squig buggies turn 1 and just trap them.
You're saying to do the same as what Sean did, essentially.
Yes,
Use
absolutely.
So many, just overwhelming amounts of melee assets, just diving into his deployment zone, gum him up, keep him in his deployment, keep
fully
him there,
commit,
just score all the points. Yeah, it's exactly right. My only problem is that, like, every single profile that the buggies and the planes bring is just good into a Skitarii chassis. It's just plain good.
I mean, when the T3 is everywhere. Like,
yeah,
T3 is best case scenario.
Talk about how efficient Dakka jets get. Plus, when you hit on a Dakka jet with like whatever in speed bar with how many shots, you're just like, oh my sweet merciful, what? How many shots again? And the guy says, 11 billion, and you're like, okay, well that seems fair. He's 110.
And Brian actually has some. He has a lot of throwaway units for the freebooters to activate a lot of the bonus. So there's no real chance of preventing freebooters from getting their +1 to hit.
Exactly right. You just can't stop him. He's got too many 5-mans. We'll hit a transition over to the Grey Knights and Dark Angels game. Give you a quick call there and see what's unfolding in what I believe is the top of turn 2 soon. Oh yeah,
so
the top of turn 2. So the Grey Knights
all the
first.
Dread Knights. So they all went to 1 angle.
So he's mirroring the Deathwing. The problem is, though, the Deathwing gets so many more points by doing this play than they do. So maybe he's doing a staging here, staging all these Dread Knights so we can try and commit like 4 or 5 Dread Knights to that back unit in 1 turn. Could very well be the thing. Yeah, look, man, those Dreadies, like, I'm a fan of the model. I've got to say, I was a bit off them when they first came out, but they've grown on me over time.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they could use an update. I mean, they're just so monopose. I like the idea of the Dread Knight a lot. A lot of people make fun of the baby carrier aspect of them, but I could hit or miss with them. But I just want them to be able to be posable.
That's fair.
But it looks like, I mean, what do you think is the Grey Knight plan here? Because obviously he's committing everything to one
Well,
flank.
if you're going to go to one objective, go for the one that's got Stubborn Defiance on it, obviously, because you disrupt a secondary as well as a primary. The problem is, though, that terrain piece is like the most premium of premium terrain pieces to put Deathwing Terminators in. In addition to that, he's probably got Lazarus, and he's probably got so I can definitely see the biker there to be the apothecary. So you're going into all the good resources. It'll be -1 damage as well.
All
and then
in that corner.
So if you're not putting in 4 Dread Knights, you can't put in 1. Essentially, is the way I see it.
It's full commit. You have to try and get rid of it in one go.
Yeah,
in one go.
exactly
You
right.
have one go to basically get rid of it all.
One of the biggest holes in the Grey Knight book is the lack of fight phase dynamics. They have all the straight line power, the plus to hit, the plus to wound, the plus to attacks, the mortal wounds, all that stuff. They have very little jank. There's no extra pile-ins, extra consolidates. There's no fights first, fights last.
That's it. That's it right there. Is the fact that they can't do multiple fronts. It's very difficult for them to do multiple fronts because interruptions is a big problem, especially in this case when they want a dogpile. Like imagine he assaults that Terminator unit with 3 Dread Knights. The first Dread Knight maybe only kills 1 to 2 guys. At least one of those other Dread Knights is going to die before they get a chance to fight.
Spot on. We just had a question in chat. What is Stubborn Defiance? Stubborn Defiance is a Dark Angel specific secondary in which they essentially plant a super banner. As you know, everyone knows Raise the Banners. They essentially plant a super banner on an objective. And then that one unit that planted that banner is chained to that objective. For every turn that they maintain control of it, they gain more and more points. Turn 2, you get 2 points for that unit being on that objective. Turn 3, you get another 3 points. Turn 4, you get 5, and turn 5, you get 5 points. Now, I think this objective is overpowered. You shouldn't be able to get 15 on it. You should have to accept like a 12.
Okay, so in a scenario like this, when you have a 10 block of Terminators, it's like a severe problem to try and deny them these points. But the Achilles heel of Stubborn Defiance is that once you stop that unit one time from getting a capture, it starts completely over. So that's what you were saying with regards to the OBSEC is if you have one turn where he can thrust an OBSEC unit onto that objective and essentially just take it away for one turn, most of the points from that secondary is gone.
Exactly right. Now, one of the biggest deals for Dark Angels is that your score is very plottable. And it's very easy for your opponent to see where those points are coming from, turn in, turn out, again and again. They get very few explosive turns of anything. No explosive movement from this army. No explosive turns where they get a huge dump of points that you don't see coming. It's usually you can sit back at the start of the game once you've seen the secondaries. It's like, well, this turn is going to score this many. This turn is going to score this many. This many. This many. This many. And so you can really just pick the moment when you want to disrupt them because they don't have screens. They don't have anything to get in the way or slow you down. And if this guy, if Jason had, let's say, 3 units of strikes and he could send in 2 Dread Knights to charge and base contact all the Terminators and then put 2 or 3 units of strikes on that objective and then just take away that primary score, he gets a 5 on primary from a 10, and then he gets to start over Stubborn Defiance and never gets more than, say, 8 or 9 points on that, depending if he's managed to hold it for the rest of the game.
And that sacrifice could essentially be the points that decides the entire game. It's just denying that one turn and denying the efficiency of that secondary is a big deal.
Now, what I really love about Joel's list, I'm gushing over Joel's list because I love it in this format when you know you can take a loss and make it into the final bracket, because this list never scores less than like a 60. Just never scores less than a 60. The only time I've played more games with Dark Angel than any other army in this edition for myself. Only times I've scored less than 60 is like my first couple of games against Dark Eldar, when they just had like 10 Blood Brides just come and ruin my day. And then I even figured that out. So even if I lost, I still got a good score. So to my mind, this gentleman is like possibly the best placed guy in the event to take a loss and still make the finals.
That's a bold statement. I definitely think he has, as far as we've seen right now, the ability to go all the way, especially because a lot of the matchups, including one of the ones we thought initially was going to be very rough for him, which was Freebooters, he seems to have no problem with whatsoever. And if we saw in this top down here, we also have this unit of interceptors up here, which means that the Grey Knights are going to be getting their engage almost every turn. So that's an easy 10 plus points. Yep. And Psychic Interrogation, that's tough. It depends on how many Watchers. Do we see how many Watchers he has? Does he have any Watchers?
I actually didn't check. I'll have a quick look right now. But one thing I would like to know, I don't see the blade guard on the table. I can't tell where they are. If they're here.
So we saw them. They were behind this Terminator unit there, and they were getting shot. They were exposed, so they were getting shot by the Nemesis
Okay.
Dreadknights.
They shot. They copped everything. Yeah, he doesn't have any watches in the dark, by the way. And
Okay.
for those who don't know what the watches are, they're a once per game deny the witch. So deny psychic power once per game.
So he doesn't have the ability to really deny him from getting mental or psychic interrogation, which is fine. Yeah. So it looks like 4 Blade Guard of the, I believe, unit of 6 have gone down, which is it's fine. He doesn't really need the Blade Guard in this matchup at all.
Honestly, if I was him, I'd actually be happy with that. I'm like, oh, cool. There's like 2 more Termies that could have died that now won't.
100%.
This is really interesting. He's actually bringing out a unit of 10 Termies to try and get a charge into these Dreadknights.
Okay, so then that makes me think that this is the Stubborn Defiance unit.
Yeah, it really makes me think that is absolutely correct. Because you have to mark the Stubborn Defiance at the start of the game.
Yes.
Before you know who's going first, who's going second. So you have to pretty much point it and be like, I'm going for that one, guys. And if it's outside your deployment zone, it can be a big deal to point at that one and say with such confidence that one's mine. In saying that though, like you could say it with some level of confidence here or there because you just have so much more obsec than your opponent. I'm not seeing where the last unit of Terminators is, although there is more than 10 Terminators in the top. Yeah, there's
think
2 units.
This is 2 units there,
it is,
and then there's the 1 unit here. And actually, I like this play of being aggressive. This is what I thought against the Orc player, the Freebooters player, he should have done earlier. And now he's recognizing that the Dread Knights essentially have no good way to deal with that unit, even in combat. So he can just come in with a Chain Fist, maybe kill 1, even 2 Nemesis Dread Knights in one go, and then like at that point, the Nemesis Dread Knights are hitting so far above their weight with that unit that I don't know if there's really a plan to come back, and he can swamp that objective and just make it so the Grey Knights are they're 5 points every turn.
He's going to give him a 5. Yeah, exactly. He gives him 5 next turn. He just gets 1 Terminator on that thing. Well, admittedly, I don't know if that unit behind those crates are the strikes or not because from this angle,
strikes. I would
from this
say.
angle though, strikes and interceptors look exactly the same.
But the interceptors have little antennae.
They got little antennas on them. What are you talking about? What do you mean you can't make out from top down exactly what they are? Looks like the Blade Guard are still alive. I can see a couple of those models right next to that Apothecary, and I saw one
2.
get
There are 2 remaining.
Yeah, 2
Unless
remaining.
he resurrected. He might have resurrected 1.
So there's 5 interceptors right in the top left. There's 5 in the top right as well. So it's going to be an easy and pretty consistent, probably 12, if not max, on engaging all fronts. Possibly 14. We'll see.
I would say that this unit up here, I could see them absolutely getting killed in the shooting phase by turn.
One thing I would like to note, if I was playing this, I may have combat squadded one of my Termi bricks.
Can you combat squad them?
Well, I was about to check that because I know I usually play with assault Terminators more often than the shooty Terminators. So I'm gonna have to actually check if the Deathwing Terminators have it.
Do assault Terminators have the ability to combat squad?
Yeah, because they're just from the main book.
Oh, so then so probably
they're not the Dark Angel specific ones.
Yeah, well,
yes,
and
they
also
do. Yeah, Deathwing Terminators do have combat squad.
Yeah, that makes sense because as you said before, of the firstborn units like Sanguinary Guard, like Wolf Guard, and stuff like that, the specific army faction groups can't combat squad, but all of the core Space Marine ones usually can.
Exactly right. All Dark Angel Terminators have combat squads. I had to check for a minute because it's been a hot minute since I got to play them. But yeah, I was pretty sure they did, and that was one thing I would have done this game. I would have split one of these up, and then just had 5 guys with storm shields just go into the middle to get those to make sure I maxed Oath. And that made a lot of sense to me at the time.
Now, okay, so here's my question though: if he had split one of the Terminator squads, essentially, then does he commit a 5-man or a 10-man to get Slumber Defiance? And at that point, does that give the Grey Knights player greater efficiency in removing the Terminator?
Yeah, you'd always keep a 10-man on the Stubborn Defiance. It's just too many points to risk. But yeah, remember what I said? You have a 10-man on one objective, a 10-man on the objective, and then everything else plays between the two. That's really good. So if they do split up and try and invest on both, you can have 5 Terminators reinforcing each side, and then your 6-man Blade Guard just be the kind of the swing man, whichever side needs the extra investment. And so you got 15 Termies, and then a couple of characters, and the flying company of 6 Blade Guard veterans. That felt good to me. That felt like a good plan in my head, because it's such a hard egg to crack.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have. It had the possibility of giving him a little extra flexibility with his Terminator units in general. But I like the fact that he's actually being aggressive with them because I think that's what he absolutely needs to do. He should
Mm.
recognize that the Grey Knights essentially have no good scenario charging his Terminator unit, and at that point, he should just commit to one or two of them, kill them, and then make the committal for the Grey Knights even worse. Because at that point,
This
he's
is
down assets and he can't efficiently combat them.
this is wild. You see where this Ravenwing Apothecary is going in the bottom
Oh,
right?
he's
Why?
he's going to get rid of invulnerable saves. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, tell us about this.
So he likely, I'm going to check right now if he has the relic. There's a relic that the Dark Angels have that reduces any invulnerable save down to the best as being a 5+, which against these Nemesis Dread Knights is huge. Especially since one of the Grey Knight Grandmasters likely can pop a once per game at 3+ invulnerable save, which would be its saving grace against any of these chain fists. But if he can at least get two of them to only have a 5+ invulnerable save, I think both go down in combat in a single
Exactly
combat.
right. Yeah, and he does. He has the relic with your pen, 100%.
So that's what he's doing. I love this play.
I will note this Apothecary does not have Selfless Healer.
I don't think he needs it. I think
don't think
that
he needs it
like where he has enough CP. Where would he go other than like an occasional +1 to hit or like a reroll charge? Like where does he invest his CP? I don't see anything else that he really needs to do.
Spot on, man. I agree. The only thing you might want to do is the Selfless Heal would let him heal two units a turn. Like, you know, here's a Terminator that was on 1 wound left, has 2 wounds now. Here's a Blade Guard, same deal. But you're absolutely right. The 6-up Feel No Pain Aura is the most valuable thing that Apothecary always brings to the table, and especially for this kind of archetype. Yeah, it looks like he's already reinforcing. That other 10-man is making his way through the middle of the table, and that one is his flying company. He's going to make his way through the middle of the board. Maybe he was able to tap the terrain with the Cyclone so they can see through that brick, in which case he can have a fair bit of shooting coming here, brother. That is at least 2 of those Dread Knights now having a 5+. So I'm assuming the shooting is going to chip down a third one, and then the charge from the Termies. The charge from the Termies tries to pick up exactly what I was saying. That leftmost Dread Knight in the clump is the one getting the fire onto him. He's taken at least 3 wounds, or he's down to 3 wounds remaining now. And then the charge from the Termies is going to come pick up the 2 closest. If that happens, this is well cooked. This is well cooked.
Yeah, I mean, yes. If he's able to severely cripple, he's basically making it a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation where if he's able to cripple at least this left Dread Knight and then possibly kill these 2 in a single combat, I don't see how the Grey Knights player can recover at that point.
Yeah, same. I 100% agree. Looks like we're going to hit a transition. Go back to the Demons versus Orcs game.
Orcs.
That is
yes.
Mr. Scott LaFontaine.
Now,
apologies.
So I was
Marshall
told,
Peterson.
I should point out, I was told the Orcs player accidentally blocked himself into the center and made himself unable to move. So there was a gentleman situation that they had to decide on whether or not he could take back one of his movements in order to prevent that from happening. It looks like the Orc player is still essentially stuck here.
Yeah.
With the Be'lakor in the way. And I don't know exactly how he gets through that. I mean, depending on whether he gets psychic powers off, the towers, the auto hit towers, could kill Be'lakor eventually.
Well, yeah. So just give you guys a rundown of Be'lakor. He's toughness 7 with 6 wounds and a 4+ invulnerable save.
16 wounds.
Yeah, he's -1 to wound from ranged attacks, which will be a big factor into these las cannon hits. Then each time attack is made against this model, you cannot reroll a hit roll, and each time attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from the hit. So he's always -1 to hit from shooting. His -1 to wound in addition, and he's always got that 4+ invulnerable save.
So yeah, I mean, a 4+ invulnerable save, of course, is always a swing. If you roll hot on them at all, then you're just going to be doing. It's either you don't roll hot and you do no damage, or you roll hot and or you don't. Sorry, I got those backwards. You don't roll hot and you do a ton of damage, or you say roll 4 dice and 3 of them are 4+. Cool, spend a reroll. It's another 4+, 0 damage, and you get one turn of that with a 16 wound model. That's bad. That's very bad.
Yes. I'm going to tell you guys about the shooting profile on these kill rigs for a second, because it is absolutely obnoxious.
Well, the best part about it is that they have tremor shells for some reason.
Yes. So you're talking about the Whir Tower, yeah?
Whir Tower, yes.
Okay, so it is Assault 24 one shot, strength 9, -3 d6 damage. Each time this weapon is selected to shoot with, if the bearer casts successfully and manifests any psychic powers that turn, exchange the weapon's type to assault d3. And this time attack is made with this weapon. The attack automatically hits. So it is.
Yes.
Why does it automatically hit at 24-inch range? It
Because
sounds
it's a
like the
laser
best
beam.
flamer. Sounds like the best flamer in the game.
It's not a. Have you seen the eyes on the Word Tower? It's psychic fire. I mean,
Don't explain this
laser beams.
stupidity to me. It's
Orcs.
Just because
How
they
dare
believe
you?
they should have good rules doesn't mean they should.
How-
All right.
Chat. Come on. He needs to get with the picture here.
No, I do not. I will be stubbornly defiant to the end.
Yeah, so the Word Tower is amazing. Then it also has a strength 6 AP -1 damage to mortar d6 shots with I believe a 48-inch range or a 60-inch range. It's one of those weird numbers in between there. It has plenty of range. Now it's shooting as an orc, so it's hitting on a 5+, but the real key there is it has a 1 CP stratagem to do true tremor shells, which means halved movement, have advance and charge, or -2 to advance and charge. But then they can throttle it even further with a psychic power that gives another -2 to advance and charge.
Right.
Which is
mate,
that unit doesn't move. You stay
We're
there.
able to get Demeki to tell us how many wounds are left on Be'lakor, because the York player has had his turn, so Be'lakor made it through that turn. And of course, the things are pretty gummed up for the York player. He was only able to get one of his kill rigs and one of his beast bosses into Be'lakor. It looks like he's been trapped in combat as well. It looks like there's a fiend directly above Be'lakor. So if Be'lakor wants to stay there, he can. He can just kill that beast boss and stay in combat, be unshootable by that
Well, and if there's a model to cut through beast bosses, it would be the ignores invulnerable saves Be'lakor.
Yeah, it would be Be'lakor. That's absolutely right. He also has, look at the bottom there. So he's got this keeper coming around the bottom of this big conglomerate, but it's going to be walled off. I'm not sure whether that's the right call to chuck that in now, but with the speed of the beast bosses, if Be'lakor does go down, then it's just a very easy pivot for them to go straight past into that keeper. So probably needed to go in this turn.
Now,
I would love to see.
Well, that is that is one of his to the last keepers. So I think that's the safest play. He can still use it to be aggressive. Essentially, it's just to harass that flank. Whereas everything else is committed to the top here. I mean,
exactly right. Doesn't a kill rig just feels like a greater demon? It just feels like a keeper of secrets, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's a psyker. It's a vehicle a monster. It's got high toughness, a bunch of wounds, a bunch of different profiles. It shoots, it fights, it psychics. It's actually no, you know what it is? It's a freaking dread knight. It feels like a dread knight. It does it all.
It does everything. Insult to injury, it has on average 10 OBSEC bodies still inside of it. So even when you kill it, it still gets you.
Why is it a transport as well?
Because it's an orc. How dare you?
Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
They are,
every time it moves, every model inside it, because they're all hanging off the side, every time it moves, you have to roll a dice for each model inside, and on a 1, they're dead.
What, are we back to second edition Orcs here? Is that what's going on?
They fell off the side and went under the wheels, all right? thematic enjoyment.
It's an amazing model. I love kill rigs. I think they're amazing, and I love that they can do everything. There's so many tech choices with them. I mean, Tremor Shells is a little oppressive. There's a reason why there is an FAQ for it, but at least they hit on 5, so there's a chance of it failing. But the chance that you can put them on an objective and still heroic into things and still have 10 OBSEC bodies inside, there's so much tech.
You're assuming it's full of beast snagger boys, yeah?
Of course, he has 3 units of 10 beast snagger boys. Why wouldn't you put them inside there?
Yeah, I've only been able to account for one of those units so far. Seeing one of these units on the table, got a another lovely panning shot of the event. Just a nice big old hall full of good old boys and girls playing some 40k.
Yeah, all these beautiful people. It's really remarkable how many people were able to come.
Is that Frankie, GM Puppy Papa, on that second row of tables right there to the left? Yeah, that's him. Look at him.
It might be Frankie.
Good on him for making near the top tables. There's Brett Urbanowski, the titan of a man holding up the whole Aston Time faction in the back. Big old Texan. I don't know the gentleman he's playing against, but he's got his hat backwards, so it's a serious event. Serious stuff going on there.
Hey, you can't turn your head backwards until the last game, so you're in the top 8, and then you get
it just
real
means he's probably losing. He's turned it around in order to invoke the heart of the cards.
I get you. It's the source of his power. I understand. You don't have to tell me anymore.
Yeah. So good, so funny.
Yeah, I mean, the event is amazing.
Let's see that Blood Angels vs AdMech game. I want to see how much lost from the Blood Angels and what their response is, because their response needs to be perfect, like
table
millimeter
1, if you
perfect.
please. Yes,
millimeter perfection as well. And how much did he lose turn 1? As I want to see as well. It looks like he's cleared he's cleared most of what was in his face, and now we've got this no man's land buffer between him and his opponent. So looks like the Death Company has been taken out. Looks like
Okay. So I see some problems here. I see some problems.
I do as well.
It looks like there are no Taraxi. There are only 2 Cerberus Raiders.
And there are no infiltrators and ruststalkers.
Where are all the Sicarians?
Did Brian just forget that an interrupt exists? Because so he must have. Yeah, the Taraxi can bounce back into reserve, of course, but not in the same turn.
Well,
if they were in the
reserve after
well, so that's what you do with
combat if they're already on the board and then leave. That's
the play with the Dune Stride I was trying to point out. You put them in Dune Stride, you sling them out, flame, back into reserve. And then you still get some pretty good efficacy. Now, it looks like the Death Company have been taken out, and there's this nice, lovely no man's land between the two armies now, good 10 to 12 inches. What looks like it was really awkward by Brian is that the investment into the Vanguard vets in the bottom left-hand side, that looks like must have been interrupted upon either that or they bounced, and the Vanguard vets just picked them up.
I think actually he may not have had the effectiveness that he expected going into the Vanguard vets. Like maybe he didn't roll hot on getting mortal wounds at all, and then it looks like the Dreadnought down there managed to just kill most of them because that's the way you kill Cerberus Raiders is you kill them in the shooting phase.
You just shoot them dead, man. Yeah,
you just blast them because they're only 2 wounds. They're T3 or maybe T4, but they're not that resilient.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, now it's quite obvious that Brian, while he has the dominant board position, is actually got some questions of whether he can hold it. This is going to get interesting from here. And did he leave anything in the tank, or did he throw this full allotment into the board to see?
It looks like
just
maybe there's something here, but these might be empty. So the ones on the outliers might be empty, but the center one probably still has a unit inside.
So I think this has taken 2 turns to clear this because this is turn 2 for Brian. Brian scored his primary for turn 2. So literally,
this is top of turn 2 for Brian.
Dylan didn't leave his deployment zone in turn 1. He just spent the entire turn cleaning it up, killing all the units.
Now I have. So,
my lord, that's all Sicarians. The dead pile is Sicarians and most of a unit of Cerberus Raiders. That's crazy.
That's not good. So he did do the bounce out Taraxi play. Now, here's the thing. Him going after the Death Company turn 1, I think, was a huge mistake. Because I think the Death Company are actually the weakest unit of his combat blobs that he has against any of these Skitarii. I think that they, with only access to, for the most of the game, to AB1 and 2, I think that, and just in general, having a bad engagement with regards to just chainswords and thunderhammers, I think that was a mistake. I think he should have left them out.
So we actually had Val just jump in and ask how he killed all that stuff. So he has a lot of good profiles into killing like Skitarii bodies, and this is one of the
lots of damage too. One thing he has doesn't he have one Contemptor that has
one Volkite Contemptor with the Cyclone missiles as well. Extremely good profiles there. Then he's got the Redemptor Dread as well. Every single melee profile he has, because his Blood Angels will just smash Toughness 3 chassis to absolute bits.
Yeah, so the Volkite Contemptor, as we can see here, I mean, having 16 shots of damage too, it just goes through Sicarians like it is in fact its job. I mean, it literally can just go straight through them. The other Redemptor just has the volume, especially with the automatically, without overheating, damage to plasma, and then all of the ablative other fire, that you will just cut through Cerberus Raiders very easily. So this, most of them being gone, it looks like 7 Cerberus Raiders have been killed. That is not surprising to me at all.
Yeah. We have a very important question by a Crypt Shadow for you, Andrew, and Val. The real report he needs: has anybody been seen eating a funnel cake?
No, I don't think so.
Chop chop. Well, sort it out. Val, in the next break, I want to see you and Andrew like fisting a funnel cake into your face, your face hole, just like nom nom.
Yeah. We need funnel cake.
I expect a video during the break of just eating funnel cake.
Although, I mean, Adam getting weird talking about fisting funnel cakes. I don't know if I like that.
Smash it into your cake hole.
Okay, so here's the thing. Here's how I see how this playing out. Brian obviously just went for a full disrupt, and it may not have actually gone his way.
Well, it definitely went his way on the scoreboard because he's really neutered his opponent's ability to contest a lot of the mid-board objectives for another turn past this one. Because obviously he didn't improve his board state at all in his turn 1. by Dylan.
But he had 3 or 4 combat units in the center that did not combat.
Yes, that's correct.
So that might have been too much.
It may have been too much. Now, if I was Brian, I pick either the bottom assets or the top assets and try and remove them. I think definitely he wants to get rid of this Redemptor. Obviously, it's one of the biggest, most dominant things on the table right now. And if you see what he did, he pulled out his unit of, I believe, 20 Rangers to get line of sight down on the Contemptor. If you can see right now, you see a beautiful lane of fire onto the base of that Contemptor that's standing just out to the left of that home ruin.
And they actually can do damage at long range. I mean, Rangers, especially when you throttle them with the Manipulius and stuff. Oh man, like they can really do damage.
So what do we got? We got 20 Rangers. You pop a couple of CP and they'll get double the amount of shots thanks to brokenness. And is it 2 CP now for that? It used to be 1, or is it they nerfed it in some other way?
So for the Ranger strat or the Vanguard strat? Which one are you asking about? So the Ranger strat, I think, stayed the same cost. But they made it turned their guns into heavy instead of rapid fire 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas the Vanguard strat went up in 1 CP and only auto wounds on 5s.
Oh, they're already heavy 2, by the way, the Galvanic Rifle. So they're heavy 2, strength 4, -1 damage. He can pump that with the Manipulus. He can pump that with a bunch of other things in order to make this pretty fairly good odds that he kills it, especially if he's willing to go for Wrath of Mars as well. I think there's pretty good odds that 20 Rangers with all the buffs kill that Contemptor.
I mean, forcing 4+ or 5+ saves. I mean, they're native AP -1, so with the Manipulus they're AP -2. Forcing 5+ saves. I mean, they will go through the Contemptor fairly easily. They have enough volume.
Exactly right. FTN game _TV. Is that my good man TPM? The lovely legend himself, Paul Murphy. Blood Angels and Funnel Cakes. I have been summoned. Welcome to the stream, brother. Thank you so much for joining us.
So real quick, if we want to jump to table 2, there's a
lot going on with the Orcs and Demons.
Looks like the Orcs have lost quite a few assets.
Yeah.
So if you see in the bottom right, you can only see it a little bit. I don't know if you can pan down to that clear container there, Val, but that is the kill pile for Orcs, and it looks like 2 kill rigs have been killed. It looks like Be'lakor is gone.
Be'lakor made the sacrifice, stuck in combat, did the damage there. Was he a while we stand we fight? He would have been, wouldn't he? So that's 5 points lost in that exchange. It's probably worth it though. Taking down a beast boss, taking down a kill rig is definitely a huge deal. And essentially it's trading up points wise as well, and importance on the table. Some beautiful models there as well.
Yeah, also. It looks like also at least one Squighog unit is gone as well. So most of the aggressive speedy assets in order to get into the demon lines are essentially gone.
Was this a distraction as well? Was he just gumming him up in that bottom right-hand quadrant in order to be so dominant in the top right? 2 Keepers of Secrets and the Lock in support of a bunch of demonettes. Val, are you saying they have, but Be'lakor's still alive? That Be'lakor's dead. There he is.
Yeah, Be'lakor's dead. I mean, Be'lakor's dead, Val. That's important.
Be'lakor's dead, Val.
Get out of here.
Go with the program. Interrupting.
But yes, obviously, the loss of Be'lakor, which was clearly a calculated call to just go into the center, and I mean, he took a kill rig and the Squig boss with him, which is a big deal. Like, that's a loss of 2 major assets. Now, we need to know if that Squig boss was the head Wappas Kill Choppa one.
Or the beast hide mantle, or which one? If it is Kill Wappa's head chopper, that's one of the best things he has, because that guy could go in and almost kill a keeper by himself. If he's gone, there isn't really a 1-for-1 trade he can pull on his greater demons anymore. So just look how strong he is in that top right hand corner, man. It's actually kind of nuts. I think that, like, just how killy Orcs are in general, they can still break out of this, but they need to do the same to the Orcs. Sorry, the demons, what the demons doing to them. Pivot around to the bottom of the pile, kill that while we stand. We fight Blue Keeper, and then break off into Scott's backfield. Start picking up Nurgling, start picking up demonettes. Yeah, go.
So you think they should do a full swing? You think they should do a full swing?
Yeah, he hasn't got the resources to win the top right back, man. He can't do it.
So I just real quick, I've got some interesting stats. Looking at the top 16, 43% of the top 16 currently are Orcs.
Wow, that's impressive.
Wow,
so almost 50%. That's nuts.
Almost 50% Orcs. 12% Drukhari, 12% AdMech. So they're still like neck and neck.
Yeah.
6% Grey Knights, and my boy, 6% Tyranids.
Yeah, that one lad is it Mr. Bortel?
Top 8. It's likely only him.
It is
maybe
only
one
him,
other.
100%. No, it is only him.
Yes. Can he make it to the top 8? That would be immensely cool. Thank you so much for the guys behind the scenes.
Because do you know what's really cool about that? He would put all eyes upon him for like the new supplement, and so he'd be really keen to see what he does now that he gets a whole new tool set.
Let's be clear. He's not pure Tyranids. He's forces of the hive minds.
I think it's the best way to go. Even with the Leviathan supplement, I
Lies.
still think it's the best way to go.
Lies.
100%. 100%.
You have to be pure.
No, that patrol with just the Magos, a couple of Acolyte units, like a Nexus or a Sanctus, is just money in the bank. Well, points in the bank. Just guaranteeing a good rod and engagement or front score. You just can't not get points out of it. And it's like, what, 200 points for the privilege? It's an incredible investment.
Oh, it's amazing. So I just heard that with our little kerfuffle here that
Jesus.
happened in the center with Be'lakor. So Be'lakor apparently in one combat killed the kill rig and the Squig Boss by himself, and then the Squig Boss, which was the head Wappa's kill chop, but Squig Boss fought on death and killed Be'lakor.
That's legendary stuff. I love those stories. That's phenomenal.
But unfortunately, that was his best mortal wounding Squig Boss, which was the only way to deal with the greater demons in the top right.
Yeah.
So
this is looking good for the demons. Man, dude, mono demons playing into the brand new Orc Codex and looking like they're going to take the win. Of course, I do think turn 1 was a big deal, and there was a bit of a mistake made by the Orc players jamming his own lines up, but just by the huge bases. He had kill rigs out the front of his army, being his front wall.
That's exactly what I pointed out.
So huge, you can't get around them.
They're on a night base. They're on a night base. That's why I was saying it's untested in the meta with regards to the triple kill rig, and why I think 2 might be the max you want to take, because they just their real estate is huge.
Well, if you want to show people where they were, because there was one pretty much where the truck is, and there was 2 directly below. It's almost a line of 3 kill rigs.
Right there was the so we want to say at the initial
on deployment. Yeah, just so people at home can see where the issue was. Yeah,
there and there were the 3 kill rigs,
and you see how do you move them? Where do you go?
You don't. Well, as soon as well, we found out that both this and this were both unbreachable,
impassable
pieces of terrain. Then at that point, like, there's nowhere for them to go. He should have likely had one up here, one in center, and one at bottom, just to contest the 3 openings. Yeah, because they can do enough damage on their own that they're a problem. Well, and there's no real efficiencies. There's no real efficiencies from these greater demons to get rid of them. So you have them assault the flanks, because they also have the obsec inside, trying to ball them all up into the center, especially since it looked like at least 1, but maybe 2 of the Squig Bosses were also there.
That's the problem as well. The Squig Bosses were behind them, and the Squig Bosses need to move as like their own little kill ball, a kill squad, go into a greater demon, punch it down, move on to the next. Because then you get the maximum amount of mortal wounds as well from each one. You can do 3 mortal wounds apiece from the hits, and plus a couple of handful of wounds here, there, and everywhere. It means you account for a keeper pretty reliably.
Yeah. Now, granted, I think he did the right choice, which is he didn't falsely commit the Beast-Hide Mantle and Ard as Nails -1 wound against Be'lakor, which would have been the absolute wrong choice.
Absolute mistake.
He just cuts right through him.
Yeah.
It looks like he sent him up to try and gum the works up in the top right to the greater demons, but he could only, 2 Keepers of Secrets and a Lord of Change.
Exactly.
He could only last so long.
And if anybody wants to know why Be'lakor can kill those 2 in the same turn, he's got 6 attacks base, goes down to 5, goes down to 4, depending on the wounds he's taken. At strength 12, -4, D3 +3 damage. So -4 means unless you got a 2-up save, you're not getting an armor save, which it's Orcs, nobody has one. He also ignores invulnerable saves as well. So he's hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s or 3s against anything this Orc army. No save, nothing at all. D3 +3 damage, cop it. It's brutal.
Yeah, even with the -1 damage from the Squig Boss, it's not enough. That character only has 9 wounds, and 2 lucky rolls go through with the D3 +3 damage, and that's it. No save, nothing. Just gone.
Get him out of here. We're going to hit a transition back over to, I think, the Grey Knights. I really want to see Grey Knights versus Dark Angels. I really want to see if the Dark Angels made those charges. Or because if he did make the charges, he just sent that Apothecary out there to die, to be squished.
Can we get the top down? Oh, so it looks like he did make the charge, but I don't see the Apothecary.
No, he didn't do the damage. There's still 4 Dread Knights left. He only killed 1. Unless we're still fighting. This could still be fighting.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think so, because I don't see the Apothecary. Where would the Apothecary have gone? He wouldn't have committed the Apothecary in combat.
The coherency on this Deathwing unit is not great.
Weird.
Yeah, looks like looks like the apothecary is definitely very dead. This, yeah, and the dreadnoughts have moved. So this has got to be the bottom of the turn.
Yes, because
This,
the apothecary was there.
how did he not do the damage there? Wow, because he's obviously made the charge, but did he just bounce, or did he not make it? Did he have such a small charge he couldn't clear his way through? From he strung out too hard,
Yes,
too far.
he couldn't get enough of them in combat to actually do
Yeah.
enough damage. Maybe, yeah. And if he,
I think
that's the other thing. If he wasn't able to engage both Dread Knights that were the targets of the apothecary, that means that the lower Dread Knight or the upper Dread Knight could literally just shoot the apothecary to death.
Exactly right, dude. Which looks like because it's very well might have happened. We got some dudes being picked up. This might be a huge mistake here, huge mistake. We'll see if it ends up costing him much or could cost him nothing at all. There's a dead pile. So that's four out of the 6 blade guard, and then 3 termies with the apothecary going down.
That's
as well.
a big deal, though. I think the
Yeah.
loss of the apothecary and not having the efficiency in that charge, maybe he committed the apothecary essentially a turn too early. Just let himself get the movement with the Terminator unit and then guarantee the charge on the following turn.
Yeah, well, so as soon as you pull back from that terrain piece and just sit the objective, they can't see you. You're behind the obscuring terrain. If you're not touching it, you're not on the base. They can't see you. So just govern behind it. Sorry, you go.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say as well, I think that he also has the Blade Guard agent here who has the upgraded banner with for -1 damage, which means that he did not need to commit that quickly because there's no efficiencies. Yes.
He really didn't need to come out at all. The only reason I think he may have, and this is a big call, is if he used the Blade Guard as the Stubborn Defiant unit.
Oh,
And
so he was trying to like stem the tide,
he has to run out to protect him. Because he lost 4. He's like, oh, well, a bit of a clench moment. He's like, oh, gut check, gotta go save my boys. Can we get from Demeki, please go and find out who's the Stubborn Defiance unit and objective for us? That'd be absolutely fantastic.
So actually,
that is my gut feeling now for trying to get the motivations of Joel.
So going on your feeling that you're saying the Blade Guard here are the Stubborn Defiance choice, then actually I disagree with you, and I think him actually coming out from that objective was the absolute wrong choice.
Exactly. Well, absolutely right. It is the wrong choice.
More than an inch away from the wall, and you get no combat from the Dread Knights. They have to come all the way around.
Yeah, but with only 2 of them left, you could gate and shunt 2 of them up and kill those last 2. That's what I'm meaning. He could just somehow jankily finish off the last 2 dudes, and then Stubborn Defiance is dead and gone. But that's only if he did pick Stubborn Defiance and did pick the Blade Guard, because that's the interesting thing. Yeah, how did he kill 4 of them? How did he kill the first 4? If they were doing that already.
So I've just been told by Demeki behind the scenes that, in fact, our initial prediction, these are the Terminators that have Stubborn Defiance. So
yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Cool.
Him committing those units then makes a lot more sense. I still think he maybe could have waited an extra turn and try and gotten more of a guaranteed charge to get more of his models into combat.
I just don't think he needs to ever leave that deployment. Just stay there, mate. What's he going to do? He's just going to make it easier for you. You may think you can get aggressive, so you should, but all you did was just get a Terminator unit and an apothecary killed.
That's exactly my point. I was saying that he is, maybe I was not saying myself the best way. I think he could have sat back at that objective and waited for the Grey Knights, who have to be more aggressive, to push forward and guarantee him a charge.
Yeah, the game's on your terms.
Yes.
Don't do his work for him.
Don't give him assets.
Yeah, make him work for it.
Yes.
Don't make it easy.
Especially because, as we determined, he's probably already winning in the secondaries department, which means there's no reason for him to move.
Exactly. Spot on, brother. Updates from chat. Thank you, everybody who's joined us. Tanner Herbert joining us as well. Lovely. Thank you very much, man. Welcome. Isaac White, Ikbard. 323 people have joined us live. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for giving us your time, your Saturdays or Sundays, wherever you may be in this big wide world.
Thank you so much.
Day, getting some hobby done, and hopefully you're rooting for your hometown heroes. There's some people here in attendance this weekend, or one of the other menagerie of 100+ player events this weekend. And hopefully you've got some people in the field representing you and your clubs and your teams very well. Do we want to hit over to Brian's turn?
Yeah, let's go back to table 1 and see if there's been any real traction in that game. Okay,
Captain Athenos just keeps dissing you, brother. He said, not Adam makes a good point, but Adam also speaks truth. His name's Andrew. Andrew the Elephant Dickinger. Andrew the Elephant Dickinger. Get it into your heads. You're gonna hear it a lot now.
I am apparently forever known as the elephant because I said one time that I don't forget. But Val said something obscene. That we
Something
probably
obscene.
should say on
Yeah,
stream.
we cannot repeat. Okay,
Um,
so but my prediction. So just want to say, Adam's predictions once again correct. Just gonna brush some dust off my shoulders. Redempted down, contempted down.
Yes. There normally was a dread here and a dread here. And notice
Yep.
that they're both gone. I mean, I think clearly that either on the previous turn, Brian was able to. Well, we actually did. We're seeing him still set up, but likely that the Rangers managed to kill this Contemptor here.
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing with the Taraxi here, they came down
Yeah.
and used Wrath of Mars and just cleaned up the Redemptor.
Spot on. But I believe there could have already been some wounds done in that Contemptor already, which makes it quite easy for those Rangers to pick it up with a couple of buffs. And yeah, that's 2 units of Taraxi, yeah? One that was already in reserve, and then one arriving that was on the table turn 1?
I think it's 1 unit of 10 Taraxi.
I think that's
So-
2 units, if I had to guess.
I'm going to check right now. I
he's got-
think you're wrong.
Oh, no, you're right. He's only got 1 unit of 10.
I
My
told you
apologies, mate.
so.
Totally. You did. Absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely
so 1
correct.
unit of Taraxi, which is real. I mean, that's so many auto, AP -1 auto hit flamers that then can just pop Wrath of Mars to get 6 mortal wounds. That'll go through a Redemptor.
Well, you see, look at the pound of flesh you took from the Vanguard as well. It's interesting. Though, I think that is the Sang Priest at the back there with 3 wounds done to him, and then one of the veterans only has 2 wounds. Oh, sorry, 1 wound left. So that unit is severely compromised. It's either auto dead next turn, or he has to send it in and get some work out of it before it explodes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Do the Blood Angels have any way currently to ignore Overwatch?
They do not, my man. So you can't charge a Taraxi. He has to go. He has to go for the middle bottom objective, to my mind. Jump the Sang Priest.
His shooting is gone, and he basically has no way to deal with this unit.
Exactly right. And well, Blade Guard is my assumption. Blade Guard's the only thing I can think that can charge them and not just die.
Yeah, because they'll still have 3+ saves even against the Flamers. So that's yeah. I think they'll still take a pound of flesh on the way in, but
still probably loses 1 or 2 dudes. The Vanguard veterans though need to get healed and get res the dude, and then they should jump into the 5-man Rangers in the bottom middle objective, take that away from his opponent, and then at least give Brian a 10. You need to stop giving him 15s. Because Brian got another 15 at the start of his turn. At the start of his turn 2, got 15. Start of turn 3, got 15 as well. Why are the Sangars still there? Why haven't they full sended in response?
Well, this is Cerberus Raiders here, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Which means that if they come out and try and send into them, they're now in the open, and the Cerberus Raiders can just use the stratagem to then go like that.
So look at where the Cerberus Raiders are, yeah, and look at the tail that they have. If they're going to go that way and go all the way around the Dune Rider, you're still able to make that charge, I believe.
Well, I think even with the because the Sanguinary Guard only have a 12-inch movement, that probably only gets them to about there.
Yep.
Which
what
means
I mean
that
is, if you see the footprint and the gap for those guys, moving 12 away still probably gives them like a 7 or an 8-inch charge. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, you're thinking even with their movement here, they won't be able to get enough distance.
Yeah, exactly right. They'll still have a doable charge. It won't be crazy good, but it'd be better than just sitting here letting him get 15s on primary every turn.
Here's my worry though, is that if he commits to that side, will he actually, because of the blocking of the 2 vehicles here, will he be able to get enough models into the Cerberus Raiders to actually deal significant damage, and then won't his Sanguinary Guard essentially just then be in the open for the Rangers down here?
That's true. That's very true. So the thing about Sangard in this configuration against Cerberus Raiders, and the change of Cerberus Raiders going from toughness 4, so toughness 3 wounds to toughness 4 2 wounds, 2 Sangard can pick up all 5, like pretty reliably. Hit him on 3s, wound him on 2s, 6 up
well,
involves,
there you go.
Pick them all up.
He's now committing, as we can see here. Yeah. He's taking the Sangar out. Now, my only worry with this, again, is he may choose to not move his Cerberus Raiders when they get declared charge, and just let the Sanguinary Guard put themselves in front of the wall there, in which case I think 20 Rangers just kills them all. Just
dunks on them. Yeah, I agree. He's just going to leave himself out. And maybe this is a bait. Maybe this is a total bait by Brian. And how many... See, Brian's still got 5 CP if that's up to date, which unfortunately we know it's not because he hasn't had his primary updated. But look at what he's doing. He's actually pulled the... This might be a mistake. He's actually pulled the assault intercessors from the back line to go after the Taraxi. He needs to charge in another unit with them.
I was going to say, aren't they all just going to die in Overwatch? Because I believe they will.
Yeah. So 10d6. So what's the average on 10d6? Is
7 times 5. It's 35 auto
35.
hits. At
35 auto hits.
Auto wounds, sorry.
Yeah, so it's auto hits, wounding on 4s.
So roughly 17.
17 minus 1s. So he'll have 4 ups. So he'll save. Yeah, he'll lose 3 guys. He loses 3 guys. Pretty easy.
4 guys. 4 guys.
4 guys.
17
Yeah.
means
I see. Yeah, he's going to double up. He's going to double up. He's sending the Vanguard in as well. I thought. I really really thought the Vanguard would be better going to try and disrupt his primary, because if he kills the Cerberus Raiders or at least pushes them on that objective and the Vanguard go and kill the Rangers on the bottom middle, he gives Brian a 5 back and positions himself for a 15.
So it looks like the Vanguard and possibly Sanguinary Priest have already made a charge into the Cerberus Raiders down here.
Oh wow, they already made a charge? No, surely not. Surely this is movement phase. It's just 1 inch away.
We are in bottom of round 2, by the way, so the scores are accurate.
There we go. Oh, it's the bottom of 2, of course, so Brian hasn't had his next turn. But yeah, he just rezzed one of the Vanguard and healed himself up, because that, Sang Priest is just good like that. And yeah, if he makes that charge, look, I'm not sure he kills them all anyway. There's a lot of wounds there with 5-up invulnerable saves. He could just boss and just not die. And Taraxia Sterilizers are actually not terrible in combat.
No, they're not. They actually have a buttload of attacks at AP -1 and strength 4, I believe, so they can still chew them.
I think they're strength 5 in combat, to be honest. I remember right.
I thought their claws were strength +1, but they were base strength 3, but I could be wrong. The leader will have a special weapon, so
yeah, of course. So Structure Terrorizers, strength 4 base, and then Talons are strength user. So no, you were correct, mate.
So they are strength 1. They are strength 4. Okay, but I mean they have enough volume that if they don't do enough damage, then that's an easy interrupt for Brian if he has the CP to then just try and kill one of the other units.
On the charge, if it was charged, so it gets +1 attack. It fights if it made a charge move or was charged. So they'd have up to 3 attacks each when they fight back. Not too shabby at all for a unit that is considered to not be a melee unit.
Well, that's exactly that's it. Well, they are sort of the melee unit of the Taraxi themselves, because they also have the strat that when they charge something, I believe they have a stratagem that keeps things in combat with their claws. But will either of the units that he's sending in there kill enough Taraxi that it'll, prevent Brian from using 2 CP to interrupt and do lethal damage to another unit? I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, if he gets his Overwatch off, of course, he does want to Overwatch the Vanguard vets, especially if they're in the forest as well. Wait, will they get light cover in the forest, seeing as he's also touching the forest? They won't, will they? I actually don't know. There's some of the nuances of the terrain I still have yet to truly figure out. But if they're sitting on a 2+ right now, going into a 3+, that's not a big deal. It's the same as what I said, reasons why you might want to send in the Blade Guard. But yeah, this might work out. I really do wish he went for those Rangers though, with the
Vanguard.
And just tried to disrupt the primary.
I mean, he would have lost them for sure, but then Brian would have lost one of his better assets to hold one of his objectives. But again, I think
the target priority issues of, do those big block of Rangers, do they try and pick up the Sangard on the 2-up save, or do they try and go into the 2-up save Vanguard vets? And also, should those Rangers get those Cerberus Raiders at the top get far enough away, and the Sangard don't make it to him, Brian still just gets a 15. He still just gets a 15.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing that he could do if Brian wanted to. He could still use the Cerberus Raiders redeploy, and he could end up going this way, which then means that if he still wants to charge him, it literally either puts him off the objective or puts him so in the open that they just get blasted to pieces.
He could, if he wants to, move the Cerberus Raiders to make a horseshoe around the Sangard, so they can't possibly get on the objective.
Oh, to just go like that.
Just go like that. Stay an inch away.
Okay.
Or sure, the Consolidate must still get him onto it, because 100% they kill him.
Yeah. So unfortunately, though, I think with the committal here, this means that the Sanguinary Guard are essentially dead. Which I don't know if there's a way to prevent that. They have to engage at some point, and I think because he has Rangers here, that there's just no way they survive.
Spot on. We want to hit a transition. Which table do you want to go to?
Let's go to table 2 real quick, because I've been updated that the Orcs have 5 units left on the table now on the top of the current turn.
Great showing by Scott Fontaine. Is an excellent list. He's piling it extremely well. And who would have thought, them going this deep into this event? Phenomenal.
I mean, the greater demon bonanza is already hard enough to deal with, but then as well, he doesn't have that many shooting assets to really target down any of these greater demons other than the kill rigs. And I think as soon as 2 kill rigs were gone, a lot of his chances to kill, even the Keeper of Secrets was pretty much gone.
Yeah. He's just so indomitable at the top of the table. What are you seeing right now? Where are the ways? Give us a rundown of the score, and what are the ways you think the Orcs might be able to get a little bit closer on the scoreboard?
Okay, so it looks like right now we see that there is a unit of, I'm assuming beast boys right in the center here, trying to push through the center. It looks like there is one squig boss in the bottom of the table trying to contest the to the last keeper of secrets in the bottom of the table down here. And it's hard to tell what's going on in the top right. There's just so many units up there, but I'm
Yeah.
assuming what the last remaining squig boss, maybe some orc boy units, but I think the only real chance the orcs have is to essentially push through the center and take both of the bottom center and the bottom back objective. If he can do
Yeah,
that, I
exactly
think
right.
it's too hard for the demons to essentially turn around from
Mm.
the top right and really contest that.
Yeah, like I
Um,
said, it's so overwhelmingly demon in the top right-hand corner, and to be in all extents and purposes, like the top Dawn of War section of the table is just so overwhelmingly demon. You just got to leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Get out of there. They've kind of gummed themselves up a little bit. I mean, the fly on the lock will allow it to get relevant, but that's not the one you're worried about. You just don't want the keepers being able to go from unit to unit to unit to unit, and like every turn they just numb something.
So it looks like Mozrog is the squig boss that's left up here that's challenging the
So
ball of
pretty
demons.
pretty good guy to have left. That guy is amazing.
Well, he at least has their version of the transhuman and can get access to full transhumans. So then he has some defenses against these greater demons, and it looks like the other squig boss is trying to challenge the to the last keeper of secrets at the bottom, which that's a tough matchup. I don't know who would
Well,
win that.
that's the beast hide one, isn't it?
That is the beast hide and -1 to wound squig
So
boss.
they're just gonna pillow fight each other for
So
a
they're
while. I
there.
think.
They're
Yeah,
there
they're
for a
there.
long time. I think that the squig boss player, the orcs player, is hoping that the jaws of the squigosaur maybe rolls hot
Just
and gets a
just
bunch of mortal
bosses,
wounds.
triple sixes, and
Yeah.
9 mortals. That's what you
Um,
got.
I,
Really interesting. What's the scoreboard looking like? Give us a rundown of those secondaries.
so the orcs right now, unfortunately, only have 5 from primary. Though I think we are at the top of turn 2, so or the bottom of turn 2. Sorry. So he's only got 3 points of an assassination, which is not a good start. I mean, he obviously assassination is going towards killing the greater demons, which if he didn't get an early lead on that, I don't know how he was going to. I guess his only assassination points are probably Be'lakor. Um, Vital ground. Again, confidence pick.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, Be'lakor definitely being the only assassination points he's got, I think, because the only other characters he has apart from the graders is a single poxbringer, I believe. Which I have no idea where that guy is. He's like so hard to find on this table. Well,
He's there.
he's an orc-shaped green guy playing on a
Yes.
table with Nurglings and Beast Snagger boys. It's just gonna be so hard for us to find.
Yeah.
You got him? Val says he's got him. You think so? All right, show us. Give us a zoom. Give us a zoom. Enhance.
Oh, there he is.
Ah, there he
Enhance.
is. Good job, man.
Enhance.
Good job. Look at that. Look at that.
So
Oh,
it
those
looks
would
like
be
he's
the
trying to
truck
get.
boys.
Those are. I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't know if he has conversions or not. Those could be just the regular orc boys, or one.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got the regular orc boys trying to go after that character, but honestly, I think maybe my initial prediction was correct, which he sacrificed the commandos too early. I think he should have used them not as a roadblock and as a unit to challenge greater demons. Because with the +1 wound, I mean, look at how many terrain pieces they could proc the +1 to wound off.
That's correct. That's
correct. It's everywhere.
Yeah. It's everything. The whole table is essentially, you're always just going to do +1 to wound. That's a good takeaway for people at home as well. With player place terrain, those commando buffs and things like that, maybe when Striking Scorpions come out, they'll have something similar. Because they have something similar now, it's just a way lesser version. So yeah, those things are really good. When you got player place terrain and you got dense tables like this, there's really a lot of agency with those special rules.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take advantage of it. Obviously, I think the orc player was maybe a little overconfident taking vital ground and taking engage and things like that. I think that's the moxie on that boy. He's he thought he was going in and was just gonna roll over this greater demons list, which is brazen, very orc like. I like it. It's so goths and so snake bites. I mean, yes, I agree with the decision. Maybe not tactical, but
yes.
very orc.
Spot on. Carlos Eduardo, he said in the chat, don't blame it on the list, don't blame it on the terrain, blame it on being a model from the late 1990s that's still going on these days. That's a very good point for a lot of this stuff. Thank you to everybody in the chat who's keeping the conversation going. Marius Evander is here. Love Keep, Captain Wolf. Love you all. Thank you so much for supporting us and tuning in, giving us your time and your brains. Which game should we go to now, my man?
I would like to see if there's been any real traction on table 3 with the Grey Knights and the
Yes, please.
Dark Angels, because that
Good call.
looked like it was in bad shape.
Well, it looks like it was about to go one way or another. We were at the crux moment of that game, and things were going to start going downhill for one player. Look at him in the background. Look at that lovely DW Mechy man.
He is our pit boss behind the scenes.
It's a lovely head of hair on that Dark Angels player.
Okay.
So
all the Grey
so
Knights are there.
looks like one unit of Termies has been pretty much eaten. But looks like he still might have one or two left. The other thing to note is that other unit of Terminators, the one that I said was the tweener roll. Looks like it is poised to go pretty hard onto these Dread Knights. Hopefully that one can pick up the two he failed to pick up before, because he's killed one Dread Knight. Yeah. He's killed one Dread Knight. It looks like one of the Terminator blobs is going this way to try and at least kill another Dread Knight and roadblock them from being able to get to the last target, or not to the last, the Stubborn Defiance target, because that's clearly Stubborn Defiance there. That Terminator unit, it shouldn't make a charge, could compress itself into a small enough blueprint that it gets 2 points at the end of the battle round for Oath of Moment as well, which could be a nice little pocket of points.
Well, I'm almost wondering here, it's so dense that if he's able to kill that one Dread Knight, then likely only 2 Dread Knights can come at him at once and reliably get combat. So
correct. Am I correct in saying that there's 4 Blade Guard alive again? Or is that a couple of Terminators up there as well? I can definitely see a couple of Blade Guard there.
I think there's 2 Blade Guard. I think there's
it'll be Lazarus.
There's Lazarus. There's a Blade Guard Ancient also.
Yeah,
there.
that's right. Yeah, so 2 Blade Guard Ancient, 2 Termies. That's the remainder of that 10-man that went in.
Yep.
And yeah, Lazarus, go in, man. Kill a whole Dread Knight by yourself, you absolute gun.
I mean, I think at this point, you got to put him at least reasonably close to the other block of Terminators that's going into the center objective, because at that point they're going to be the target for any smites. So go ahead, Adam.
For people in chat wondering why they're on the top level, they're probably not on the top level. That's probably for our benefit as the streamers and the audience. They're probably on the bottom level, insulating himself against what looks to be 5 Interceptor Mech intros into his backfield. So he's there just to road them off, and they're only in the top level for the benefit of us, really, the viewers. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for taking us into account.
Yeah, it also acts as a reasonable reminder for your opponent, because a lot of the times you can forget about units behind pieces of terrain because you're trying to play so efficiently with the time that you have. And this just is a good way to tell your opponent exactly where things are.
Yeah, spot on. It communicates very openly where things are, and as long as you state your intent, there shouldn't be any issues there. Interested to know if he sends those 2 Terminators back in. Now, one of the things you could do with Lazarus, you can suicide the guy if you want. If he wanted to, he could charge Lazarus into 2 Dread Knights by himself, 6 attacks into 1. Bang, 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, winning on 4s.
And then voluntarily let himself die so he fights on death.
Let himself die, fights on death into the other one. So he could possibly kill one, half kill another, or kill both. So he's got 6 attacks and he needs 3 wounds to go through the 4+ invulnerable save. So it actually is a bit of an ask to kill both, but I definitely think he can kill one and half kill another. That's not too unreasonable.
So Val, if you can give us the top down real quick, I want to explore something. So here's what I'm thinking. I don't know if he has to commit them that hard. I'm wondering if he commits the Terminators to this line here. He kills that Dread Knight. If he wraps them around and has Lazarus behind them, essentially right there, will that essentially guarantee him a heroic through the wall that the Grey Knights player, if he wants to commit, cannot prevent?
That's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because then at that point, the Grey Knights player, Lazarus can, for free, because he will essentially have not been a charged target. He will, when it comes down to the non-charged targets, he'll get to fight first and be out of danger. I wonder if that will be his play.
Well, yeah, the better one here is you never want to only tag one Grey Knight unit, because they can always gate it out and dodge the issues with fallbacks or being trapped in combat. So if I was him, I'd do exactly the same thing, but I'd tag that other Grey Knight, the other Dread Knight as well, possibly even all 3. If you have the -1 damage up on those guys, you can probably safely tap all 3 without a huge amount of repercussions.
I'm wondering if you may be correct, though, and he may actually be sending a Terminator unit here and the rest of the block that's over here into this Dread Knight and try and kill 2 Dread Knights in one go.
Well, legit, I think he can. I think he can almost go for 3, depending on how many. Because you see a 1, I can see a 1 on a dice on that front Dread Knight, and that thing's almost dead. If that guy's almost dead, you go into the back 2.
Oh,
holy crap!
It looks like the back Dread Knight.
Wow.
That must have been Cyclone missile launchers plus bolters just taking them
exactly
out.
right. Well, if you see, he's been quite clever with his top unit, the Stubborn Defiant unit. You see, the last 2 units he has in his squad are the Cyclones, and they can definitely draw line of sight to the whole 4 block of those Dread Knights.
Yeah. So now, actually, if he manages to make a charge here and a charge here, and there's only 1 Dread Knight remaining, I think that's essentially the game. I don't know if there's a way he'd come back.
I don't want to call it too hard, but there's a chance he kills all 3 this turn.
Oh, you're saying you think there's going to be enough room that he could essentially hit both of those with the Terminators?
Hit both of them. Well, the Terminators can just go straight through that ruin. If you see where the closest Terminator unit is, he's only about a 4 or 5 inch charge from the backmost, the first away one. So why not go into both? You've got the Chain Fists, and you've got Thunder Hammers. You just go, 5 guys here, 5 guys here. And then if you want, you put Lazarus into one of them as well to be the pinch hitter to the one who doesn't go down. And then maybe tie the other one up with the rest of your bits and pieces.
I agree, because even if he doesn't make a huge charge, he doesn't need to, because anyone that's a forward unit can just go to the far Dread Knight.
Exactly.
And that's maybe a 5. That's all you need, where everything else just comes in through the back, and then Lazarus can go into the third one, and it's Lazarus will still fight it even if he dies. So
well, there's some interesting activation opportunities here as well. And this might be getting a little bit too deep, and this might not be an option. But if those Terminators charge far enough into the backmost Dread Knight and get around the side of it, you activate with the guys fighting the rightmost Dread Knight first. They kill it. The Terminators activate, kill those 2, and then they pile in and tag OBSEC onto the middle bottom objective, and that would be an entirely locked up game for the Dark Angels.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be, if that's I feel that's best case scenario if that is part of his plan, and that does happen.
That's everything goes perfect, nothing goes wrong whatsoever.
That's so much extra movement for a 10 block of Terminators that was formerly right here. That's essentially almost 30 inches of movement, and if he manages to get that far into the Grey Knight's lines, that's it. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, I still think this is in the Terminator. They've lost almost a full block of Terminators, which is never a good thing. But how's the score? Can we get the secondaries up? I'd love to see what the score reads right now. Just see if I can really predict how this is going to play out any further.
So Grey Knights getting good rod, obviously, because they have a unit here and a unit over here and a unit here. So
they're going to get massive. They're going to max rod and they're going to max engage, as far as I can tell. Val, everyone's again saying inappropriate things in our ears.
No, okay, so I also see him being able to get at least very high in psychic interrogation, because he can do it from any one of his units and there's no psychic defense. But honestly, once one of his assets is gone, we know he's then going to max Stubborn Defiance. There's no denying that. He can just have this Terminator unit or a character stay in the center and get max Oath.
Who went first here, by the way?
The Grey Knights went first.
That's so good. When I have Stubborn Defiance and I go second, I love it.
Well, Stubborn Defiance and Oath of Moment going second is amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. So because you get to score your last... you get to score your last 5 and then run into the middle and get your full Oath of Moment points.
Yep.
Especially from the position he's in right now. He just gets to get at the best, have his cake and eat it too. Because you score Stubborn Defiance at the start of your turn, and then Oath of Moment at the end of your turn. And you score your primary then as well.
And remember as well that every time he's killing one of those Dread Knights, that's giving him an Oath of Moment point, and he's never going to be falling back, so that's another Oath of Moment point automatically.
Exactly right.
So as soon as he starts to place a unit in the center, and there's nothing targeting them, that's it. He's going to max out all of his secondary points, and I don't see how Grey Knights can possibly pull primary away.
Exactly right. Man, this looks like a spicy round. Let's we might bounce out. We might bounce back into this one in another 5 minutes.
Let's go back to table 1. Yeah.
I think we've seen the charge come in from the Terminators. They did make it. They went into 2 of those. No, we're sorry. I think we might have to stay here.
Okay, we have to stay here for a second.
Yeah. I thought they were dragging on this charge phase a little bit. I'm like, we can bounce out for a couple of minutes, but no.
Oh, okay. So you were actually right on the money. He was, if we saw, he was just measuring there. So maybe he didn't get as long a charge as he wanted to, but it looks like he will be able to pile in this direction and tag the objective.
Yeah,
and that's a big deal.
I think he was measuring whether he was going to be closer to that Dreadnought on the right, or he was going to be closer to the guys on the objective. I think he is closer to the guys on the objective, but I'm not sure he's within the 3 inches he needs to get on there.
You're saying this Dreadnought here?
Yeah. who was going to be
That's assuming
closer.
that Dread Knight is also still alive at the end of all of this. which-
Spot on. So he's going to have reroll ones to hit as well, and he can pop a couple of CP to dodge the -1 to hit from all all his heavy fists and thunderhammers, which I would absolutely do. Like you just
Why?
drop it
I
like
mean,
it's hot.
now he still has 2 CP remaining, which obviously
Mm.
that's a good choice. Now the question though is does he try to save that since he's doing multiple engagements? Does he try and save that for any other tech that he has access to?
Well, let's find out if there is multiple engagements, man. Because great point. Because if he does, he needs those 2 CP for possible other plays. But if he doesn't bother to invest any more in this Dreadnought, if he just stays where he is, and he's 1 inch away from the wall, he's actually just fine. He doesn't need to kill this other Dreadnought. Can just leave it alone.
Well,
Lazarus, yeah, boy,
there
get
it
in
is.
there, do it. I
Hell
love him.
yeah,
Well, because
Lazarus.
the Grey Knight, the Grey Knight player only has
Lazarus,
one.
listen to this guy.
Oh, you guys, oh, jeez, you guys, whatever. You guys can. So he has the Grey Knight player only has 1 CP, so there's no interrupt coming. So go for it. He's not interrupting you, so just dog pile in. Send all the boys in. Send them out. Send them in. I want to see
that's
everything
true.
go into this Dreadnought. Those
I
last
think-
2
yes.
termies.
I think that was actually you just pointed out something very important. The Grey Knights needed to save 1 CP, one more,
Yeah.
to have an interrupt,
this.
to have any chance.
He said, I think he's sending in the Blade Guard next.
Yeah, why not? I mean, as you pointed out, he can't interrupt. Why wouldn't you just send in
Yeah.
everything? Guarantee the
Mm.
kill. I mean, at this
Exactly
point,
right.
he needs only like the Ancient to stay on this objective and keep the objective, and that's it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
it. No, nothing else
so-
need apply. Yeah, this is looking pretty good, like a pretty good turn. We're gonna stick with this at the end of this combat phase, just because I need to know what happens.
I'm wondering if this. I think you may be right. I think that this central Dread Knight may be only at half wounds remaining, which means he only needs to commit a couple Terminators to kill it.
Looks like Lazarus didn't go into the. Oh, so he charged both. Cheeky bugger. He went into. So there were some power armored lads. 5 of them. I think they were interceptors. Just above where Lazarus ended up. Lazarus went into them first. He's just picked them up and he's piled into the Dread Knight. So he's going to let the Dread Knight kill him, maybe, and then kill him back.
Yeah,
Either
well,
that,
it's
or
just-
there's another. Either that, or there's another unit down there because it looks like there might be his. Is that his ancient? Are we able to get an enhance? Can we get an enhance on that combat, please? That'd be magnificent. Because that looks like the ancient to you, yeah? Next
I
to
think
the-
that's the
next to the
Ancient.
other?
I don't think he
Yeah.
could have any interceptors, right? Because there's interceptors here, interceptors here, interceptors here, and that's it. It's just 3 units. So he couldn't have. There couldn't be any Grey units in that.
Well, no, there definitely was a power armored unit down there, 100%. It could have been his strikes, but he has 4 units of interceptors, by the way. Because he has 2
he
tens.
does. Okay, so there could be 1 unit of interceptors involved in that.
So his ancient is still up there on the ruins. So I don't know what that model is. That was a curious thing. What? So, okay, to the right. So the triangle of Dread Knights, that guy. Yeah, we're pointing at him right now. That guy. What is that guy
right there? What is that model?
Yes.
Uh,
No. Below, on the ground floor, literally in front of that guy. Those are 2 Terminators.
yes,
Literally,
he's
yeah,
like.
on the other side of that
So
wall.
if you hold
Exactly
the
on the
camera-
outside of that
yes.
wall.
No. If you pan up, I'll tell you exactly where this guy is. He's literally.
Yeah.
Stop moving. He's literally right there. He's on the other side of that wall.
Val's having fun. We're having fun.
Demeki,
Looks
if
like
you
this-
could do a real check real quick to see what that model is next to the wall. that
It
would
must
be
be. It must be
help.
the ancient. It's got to be.
It has to be. It has to
Yeah.
be.
has to be
Well,
the ancient.
I have a feeling I know what he's doing. So he's essentially moving the Ancient up so that the Terminator block will still be in banner range, assuming he doesn't kill
Ooh.
all the Dread Knights.
Yeah, and they get to fight on death.
That one.
Should the
Nice.
Dread Knights get to fight, he gets a 4+ fight on
Oh.
death to smack him with the
Oh.
chain fist.
Guess who that is?
Who?
That's Ezekiel.
Is Zeke? Yes, that makes sense. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense as well. He's going to have good denies. He'll have Psychic Hood over top of the
Dread, yeah.
Dread Knights. So, it looks like
Hey,
one
he's-
Dread Knight is already down. So
I've got a feeling Zeke's a baller against Psychers as well. I seem to remember he gets flat 3 damage against Psychers.
I know
each time. Yep, go.
I think he gets bonus. He might get bonuses against Psychers, but I think Asmodai gets bonuses against characters. Is that true?
Asmodai is really, really crap now, so I'm not sure. I barely looked at him.
How dare
But,
you?
Ezekiel, no, his bonus is against Fallen or Heretics Astartes. He goes to damage 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
His-
well, there you go. There are both of the Dread Knights that they charged.
there we go. I thought it was going to go down like that. He was going
And-
to do them
Well,
badly.
and we see here, this is Lazarus is here, which puts the
Mhm.
Grey Knights in a terrible position because, as you said, the Grey Knights have no shenanigans with regards to combat. So he's either
Mhm.
choosing to fall back and do nothing because he can't shoot, he can't psychic, he can't combat, or
Yep.
he tries to go for a gate if he has it in order to
Mhm.
gate himself out of combat, or he just stays there, maybe kills Lazarus, and then Lazarus
To
still
what
kills
gain?
him.
To what gain? Lazarus gains him no points. Lazarus does nothing
No.
for him. In fact, the worst thing you can do is stand there and let Lazarus kill him because it's a new battle round. E.g., it'd be another point on Oath of Moment
Yes.
to kill him.
It's basically all bad for the Grey Knights. At this point, I don't
Yeah.
see how the Grey Knights can come back from this. They'll score very high on their secondaries, but the primaries is basically gone at this point.
It's gone. Yeah. And next turn they're going to be their primary's going to be absolutely gutted because that 20-man block gets onto that bottom middle objective. There's no way to get him back. There's no way to get that back from that point.
And of course, the only reason that he needs to keep a single Terminator for Summer Defiance on this objective is because he's OBSEC, and none of
Mhm.
these Grey Knight units have OBSEC. So there's
None of
no
them.
way to deny
Well,
him that objective.
one of them does. We're just pretty sure it's the one on his
It's
home objective. Yeah.
This one or this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's either one of those, which does not help with the Stubborn Defiance at all.
Does not help at all. They can't get there. As long as he makes it so you can't gate onto it, there's nothing you can do about stopping it.
All right, well,
looks like
let's
Lazarus went down. Lazarus is dead and did not kill the
Lazarus.
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 Lazarus. You sure? Is there two R's in it? I thought it was only one R in it.
It's but that's Lazarus. It's a very, very famous name in history. All right.
Whatever.
Well, we're seeing a lot that's happening on this table. It looks like it might be wrapping up. Why don't we jump over to table 1 real quick to see where that's happening?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Let's check in on Brian Pullen and his
Yeah.
madness.
So
Okay.
he had
so,
another unit of Rust Talkers in reserve.
no,
Either that or was in
actually,
the Doom Strider.
they were in the Dune Strider in the back. That
Mm.
was he did keep the one there as basically a countercharge unit. You'll notice no Sanguinary Guard.
And also
nothing
no
in the back
Raiders.
there.
So he did get the Raiders at least.
He did get the Raiders, but then he put here's the bad part about getting the Raiders and getting the Taraxi is that essentially none of his units are in a position to attack anywhere
To
forward.
score any points. They're not in a position to do anything meaningful.
There's
in
nothing
fact,
there.
that one unit of Rust Stalkers just gets to do whatever it wants now. Like, how
Yeah.
does he account for it?
I mean, it's looking like. Let me do a quick count. It looks like the Blood Angels, in fact, only have around 9 to 12 wounds or 12 models remaining, which means that this game is pretty much over. The army just doesn't have the staying power or the presence, as we said. They're swinging up against efficiencies against
Well,
this.
let me just put this out as simple terms as we can. Yeah, Brian had 5 melee units. Yeah. 5 units of Sicarans, and in addition to that, he has like his pinch hitting melee unit being the 10 Taraxi. So essentially, he has 6 melee units. His opponent, who is a melee spec'd Marine player, so pure melee Marines, had 4 combat units, 4 dedicated combat units.
Excuse me, sir.
Vanguard, Sangard, Death Company, Blade Guard.
Excuse me. He had 2 Dreadnoughts. They shoot.
Well, yeah, no, but they're tweeners. They're
No,
not. If you just go like for like, if you're just trading melee bombs, the Sicarans have got 5, he's got 4. They just win. You just win the exchange.
No,
that doesn't account for the bajillion ranges in Vanguard.
Yeah, I mean, I was just messing with you, Adam. But at the same time, no, you're absolutely correct. Even though only one of the Dreads is purely shooting with the Contemptor Dread, the bottom line is that he had only really 3 hard-hitting melee units versus really 2.5 that will absolutely kill any one of those melee units, and then so much extra redundancy that there's just no way for the, especially if Brian spread out, which he did, for the Blood Angels player to get enough efficiency across multiple units to essentially take out so many assets a turn that, I mean, the staying power just wasn't there. It just wasn't there.
Exactly right. Question in the chat. Knight of the Fallen, wonderful name for a Dark Angels question. He can't fight twice in the same phase, if I remember. You're actually incorrect. His rule is called Inescapable Will. When this model is destroyed, if it is within engagement range of any enemy unit to not remove it from play, it can, after the attacker's model has finished making all of its attacks, be selected to fight, even if it has already fought this phase. So 100%, it's a pseudo fights twice, and I love using him as that little tech piece, especially in games where you don't need the 5+ feel no pain.
It's excellent. I mean,
It's
and
yeah.
especially that would already be very good. But the fact that he also is giving an aura of 5+ feel no pain against mortal wounds is just like,
Yeah. He's just a beautiful trading piece. Essentially, he's got a lash whip and bone sword to all intents and purposes. But he gets to go supercharged versus Psychers with that 4 damage. Just makes him an absolute brute.
that's nuts. That is very powerful.
4 damage is so hard to come by, man.
He's
so hard.
also Deathwing Inner Circle, right? So he has permanent transhuman.
Perma transhuman.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And so he can be the the guy in your Vanguard detachment, as is Joel's, without breaking it, still get your CP back, all that goodness. I just wish he's got a bolt pistol, not even a heavy bolt pistol.
Oh, come on, he's a combat character, man.
He's Primaris. Couldn't even give him a heavy bolt pistol. Yeah,
no. Get out of here. So it looks like Dylan against Brian. Dylan's making a last ditch effort to try and do some kind of damage in the center here. Why don't we pass back over to table 2 and see what's left of that Orcs versus Demons game?
Yeah, because it looks like we're all coming to a pretty natural conclusion for all games. Unfortunately, I feel like all 3 of our games, we've pretty much known after, say, turn 1 or turn 2 which way they were going, and none of these players seem to have had the ability to change that. Although we did, actually, I'm wrong. The Grey Knights vs Dark Angels game, we thought that was like so set in the Dark Angels' favor, and then we thought they kind of let it slip by them, but he's kind of wrestled it back. That's been a nice little tug of war there.
Now I'm noticing on this table, so I was past. Mozrog Scragbad managed to ace one of the Keeper of Secrets.
Kill the Keeper, man. That's pretty
awesome.
baller.
I mean, he does
really
hunt
cool.
giant monsters, so like that is exactly his wheelhouse.
Yes, spot on.
But it looks like there's actually not much left on the table, although I will see in the center here, it looks like all of the Orcs that were challenged in the center, except for maybe a few here, are gone. Which means his ability to then push through into the Demons' lines is basically gone.
It's basically none. This looks like it's the top of turn 3 for the Demons. Either that or it's the top of turn 4. We just haven't had it updated yet with the next primary scores. But that lock is heading right into the middle. He's going to try and chuck down some more mental interrogation, get a meaningful charge off, maybe even smacking down that
and
truck.
As we saw, the forever combat down
fight.
here.
Yeah, the beast hide mantle, hard as nails, squig boss into the Keeper. Look, Scott would be very happy to keep that Keeper there. I'm sure Marshall won't mind either, having a bit of a tickle fight there. That Keeper's worth 5 points at the end of the game. So,
Absolutely.
Pretty big deal.
Now, of course, because the giant chicken, a.k.a. the Lord of Change, has moved into the center, who is now basically unkillable. I don't think there's anything that can legitimately damage him, because Mozrog is going to be stuck with the other Keepers in the top right for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And that was a to the last target. We knew that was essentially never going to be challenged, but now he can go into the center, and his combat's not amazing, but it's enough to get through what's left. We're seeing here as well. It looks like we may be having some problems with the connection, Adam. Can you hear me, Adam? Okay. So it looks like Adam's back for a little bit. He's going to see if there's any problems on his end. But yeah, to point out, the Greater Demon here, which is the Lord of Change. The Lord of Change isn't terrible in combat. It's just, for a model of its size and cost, you'd expect it to hit a little harder, and maybe when it gets a Codex, it'll actually be able to stand toe-to-toe for a while. But its main format is to be a psychic powerhouse, to just spit mortal wounds out in mass quantity. And with the Impossible Rube, which gives it a 3+ invulnerable save, essentially there's no way to get through it other than with mortal wounds. And I don't see how the Orcs could possibly get through it. And we saw as well his Hail Mary play to try and take out the small Nurgle character here failed. So this looks like it's probably going to wrap up in the Demon's favor. I mean, even looking at the score, Orcs is not going to be able to get primary anymore. Oh, and it looks like the Artisnail's Squig Boss has now been killed by the Keeper, which was the last thing keeping that at bay in the bottom. Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah, it looks like you're back. Welcome back. So Well, he already took out one keeper, so... Oh. It looks like Mosrook's dead. So that's basically it. That's the game. There's almost no chance at this point for the Orcs to pull back in any meaningful way. So let's jump over to table 3 real quick. Yeah, let's jump to. I think table 1's wrapping up. Table 2's about to wrap up. Table 3 probably still has some fights. Okay, so it looks like Adam's still having some connection issues. If you can hear me, Adam, you're cutting in out for us. So it looks like in the Grey Knights versus Deathwing game, well, Dark Angel, sorry, but mostly Deathwing, there is one Dread Knight still alive that we can see and on the right side of the screen here, but essentially 2 full blocks of Terminators are still remaining, and he did manage to squeeze this block of Terminators into the center, which is going to get him in his oath points. Yeah. So it looks like in this game, I mean, we called it early, which is pretty much there's no real way for the Grey Knights essentially to challenge the other primary objectives at this point, which means that the Grey Knights can just push with a free Terminator unit this way, and that's it. Once the Terminators get to this objective, the Grey Knights essentially at that point has no choice but to concede, as far as I can see, because there's no way a single Dread Knight's going to be removing a full 10-man Terminator block, and that is his last chance to score primary, because there's just no way for the Grey Knight player to challenge the Stubborn Defiance objective. So it looks like we're wrapping up the rest of round 2. Brian Poland likely pulled out a final victory against the Blood Angels, and the Greater Demons looks like they have also managed to wrap up most of the Orcs that they're fighting against. So that's all that's left is this Grey Knights versus Dark Angels, which it looks like the Dark Angels as well is going to do a sweep and clear on the rest of his bottom units. So he's moving towards the bottom objective for the Grey Knights, and I'm assuming he's going to make it there unless the Nemesis Dread Knight manages to pull out something amazing and at least severely damage that 10-man block of Terminators. It does look like that the Blade Guard Ancient has been killed by the Grey Knights, which it was kind of off on its own. That's to be expected. I don't know if he really needs the -1 damage anymore. Okay, so if we can, by the way, if we can get a final score on the AdMech versus Blood Angels games, that would be very good. They're wrapping up. They're still playing. Okay, so it looks like the Blood Angels still has some units in the center here. It looks like the Hail Mary play. They killed whatever they touched, and that was in the center there. And there are still a few units left in the back, but it looks like that's all that the Blood Angels have left that's on the table as far as presence. So it looks like these here are Blade Guard veterans that have taken the center of the field. So he's aggressively going into the Skitarii lines, but as we can see, that's a big block of Sicarians just waiting the nom 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 nom, those Blade Guard veterans. oh. 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 I guess I guess the Rangers just decided no thanks. Please go away. Yes. And there's no reason for him to commit them any more than he has in that corner, because at this point, he can just hold where he is. He knows he's going to max out primary. He's probably going to max out secondaries. So, no, my question. Yeah. Uh, no, so my question is, do you think that with only potentially 2 turns remaining, does Brian have actually the movement required to table the Blood Angels? I don't think he can. I don't think he can get the movement back-to-back objective. Well, how does he get Eradicate? This is Brian Pullen, the defending champion you're talking about here. Of course he's going to go for max points. Um, the Sicarians, if they just spend a turn advancing and get a hot advance, they might be able to reach the back lines. So, um, so they can't hear Adam. Uh, okay, so we're still having some technical difficulties because we're able to hear Adam, but for some reason it's not translating to the stream. So we're gonna figure that out right now. Um, so I'll keep this going. So it looks like the Sicarians might have enough momentum if they spend a turn advancing, since the Blade Guard in the center that we can see here have just died. That the Sicarians can essentially sweep in and still get eradicate the flesh at least for one more turn on some of those back characters if he chooses to commit, which is Brian Pullen. I would be very surprised if he does not commit to try and get maximum points, or even tables his opponent, which I mean is a flex and a bit rude, but you know he might. So um so if we can actually, it looks like there's still some play happening on the Orcs table. So if we can jump to table 2 real quick, we'll see if how the Orcs are thinking to maybe pull something out of this. So it looks like the kill rig has fully committed to the bottom lines, maybe to try and do the kill that Keeper of Secrets for to the last to deny some points there. Um, well, because then actually he would only get 5 to the last points because Be'lakor is already dead, and it looks like he is damaging the Keeper of Secrets. So maybe then he can actually get some points back there. My problem is I don't know how the Orcs are going to maintain primary going forward, but it looks like the Demons have also lost many assets. So this is going to be interesting. If this keeper dies, I think Orcs actually could still be in it, because that would give him 3 more assassination points. That would deny 5. That would take away essentially 5 points from the Chaos Demons player from to the last, and it would deny the Demons player really the ability to keep doing engage on all fronts, at least in the bottom right corner, because it seems that Orcs is maybe actually dominating the position here with boys or Beast Snag boys. I don't know if that kill rig still has any Beast Stag boys remaining. We'll have to see. It's hard to tell. There's so much going on with the kill rigs already that if there are any boys left inside, who knows? Because there are already a bunch of beast snag boys on top of the vehicle itself. But he might be going for a very smart play here, because he did have psychic, which maybe did some damage. It looks like he's checking to see if he can make a charge. He may not actually be able to fit the kill rig into that gap, which means that if he can't charge that Keeper of Secrets, then I don't know what his plan is at that point. Are you able to hear Adam at this point? He is speaking to the chat. Let us know if you can hear him. One also tech that we didn't talk about with regards to the kill rig, something else they can do, which is also very strong, is they have access to the 3d6 charge ramming speed strat, because they are still a vehicle, even though they are a character. So they have immense mobility. They can do mortal wounds on the charge. They can fight on death. They can heroically intervene. They psychic. They shoot. They carry troops. They're just amazing. And it looks like they were able to just barely fit the kill rig into that combat. So the kill rig is now engaged in the bottom field we can see here with the to the last target Keeper of Secrets. So if he's able to kill that Keeper of Secrets, that's actually a big deal. So that might swing it towards the Orcs' favor. The Orcs are currently leading in primary. Ooh, I wonder. The Chaos Demons took Warp Ritual as one of their secondaries. I guess either this character here or the Lord of Change is going to try and do the Warp Ritual secondary. Huh. I would say that probably the Nurgle character will probably try and do Warp Ritual. I don't think there's any reason to spend the psychic powers from the Lord of Change. But yeah, I don't. So the round itself only has 20 minutes remaining, which means that we are essentially going to be wrapping up with most of the tables here. Obviously, there isn't much assets left on either the Grey Knights or the Grey Knights versus the Dark Angels or the AdMech versus Blood Angels table, and there's mostly just big things left on this Orcs versus Demons table. Why don't we pop over real quick and see what Brian's doing on table 1, and see how he's wrapping up his game there. Okay. So it looks like maybe to get, because does he have the Blood Angels has the Relentless Assault objective. I don't remember what exactly that is. He has raised the banners, which clearly he was only ever able to get one, which is his back objective. No. So I've been told that Relentless Assault, essentially, the Blood Angels player has to have more of his own units in the enemy deployment zone than he has in his own of the enemy army, which clearly was never an option because Brian was so aggressive. Banners, he'll maybe get 2 points. I don't know if he'll he'll maybe get 3 to 4 points depending on how aggressive Brian chooses to be. And then no prisoners. I don't see how much more of Brian's army he's going to be able to actively engage, since he only essentially has characters and maybe a few loose units at this point that are able to actually attack outwards. But, you know, good on the man. He's finishing the game. He's playing it all the way out. So, unbelievably, going to the current people who have finished their games that we aren't seeing on these top 3 tables, Tyler Bortel, the only lasting member of Forces of the Hive Mind, has won his 5th game, which means that he is going undefeated into round 6, which is huge. Because that could mean that if he scores a very well, even if he gets a loss, and it's a high loss, he could still be in contention for the top tables on the final day, which is amazing. Also, so for the current top finishers, we have, of course, an Orcs player. That's not surprising, but other than that, it looks like there's only currently 2 undefeated players that have finished their games, and everybody else has at least had 1 loss. So we may see 4 or even more players that have had 1 loss proceeding into the top 8 into the final day. That would be amazing. Adam is talking. Can anyone hear him? All right, can we pop over to table 3, please, with the Grey Knights versus Dark Angels? So it looks like the last of the Dread Knights has dropped. The Terminator block that was in the center has gone into them. And of course, as we see here with the Stubborn Defiant Terminator unit, they are stringing out and actually challenging the Grey Knights' home objective, which is nuts. But again, because all they need here is 1 model to be standing on this home objective here with Stubborn Defiance, because they are OBSEC, and unfortunately none of these Grey Knight units that have a heavy move, because they are interceptors, can actually deny the Dark Angels player from scoring that objective or Stubborn Defiance because they're not OBSEC. This is what Adam was pointing out, is essentially because he only had 1 unit that was OBSEC, which might have been down here or this unit here. There's no real way to stop these Terminators from getting the full points in Stubborn Defiance. Although it looks like, I'm wondering if at this point if he has the capability to score a max Oath of Moment, which I don't think he can because he's abandoned the center. But that might be fine because he'll score heavily into vital ground. As we see, the Terminators have pushed onto this objective here. Oh, there it goes. The last Dread Knight has died now at this point. So I would see that these Terminators likely in the bottom block are going to move this way. There's at least one character remaining, still scoring the objective here, which is fine. And then as soon as the Terminators make it onto that bottom of the objective, they can essentially sweep around and go into this unit here, and that would be it. Because at that point, there's no way for the Grey Knights player to engage further into the field at that point. But surprise! I mean, here's the thing: this has to be played to the end because currently the Grey Knights player is scoring incredibly well on secondaries and primaries. The primary, if that is updated, is tied, and he is winning in the secondary missions. So I'm wondering if maybe he because the Dark Angels player took vital ground. We've been told that the table is accurate in scoring, so I'm wondering if because the Dark Angels player took Vital Ground and Oath of Moment, which are kind of contrary to each other, because Vital Ground forces him to push towards his opponent, and Oath of Moment wants him to not, to stay towards the center. Yeah. Yeah, so exactly. Unfortunately, because you can't hear Adam, he's pointing out as well that what we were just talking about, that essentially because Oath of the Moment wants him to stay in the center, but Vital Ground wants him to move towards flanks, those are counterintuitive to each other in a way that may actually deny him enough secondary points that if he can't pull enough points in while he is going second, so the Dark Angels can score a heavier primary at the end of the game, that is possible. This is going to be close. I think this is going to be closer than Adam and I ever thought it was going to be, and it may have been the error that he pulled, essentially sacrificing a Terminator block for only one Dread Knight on the right side of the field, and his Apothecary that could reduce invulnerable saves. That could be a big problem. So why don't we circle back to Table 1 real quick. Demeki, if you can check real quick if on the Grey Knight's home objective, is that his OBSEC unit or is that the an Interceptor unit? Because that's important because he only currently has one the Dark Angels player currently only has one Terminator on the Grey Knight's home objective, and if they both have OBSEC, he essentially can never take that, but if it's not OBSEC, then he will score max points in Vital Intelligence, which is a big deal. It looks like on the Blood Angels, as predicted on the Blood Angels versus AdMech game with Brian Poland versus Brian Poland versus Dylan McLillo. It looks like Dylan, all he has left is the characters in the back. So Brian at this point is just consolidating. It looks like Dylan was sacrificing characters to try and gain some kind of primary and secondary points by throwing them out single file onto the field. But good on him. He's playing through the whole game, and he's scoring as many points as he can. So we only have 13 minutes left in the round, so most of these are going to be wrapping up. I'm actually surprised at how close the Grey Knight versus Dark Angels game actually is. So we've just discovered, if we pop back to Table 3 real quick, so it turns out that the units that were holding this back objective were not OBSEC. That was an Interceptor unit, which meant the only way to get them OBSEC was that he had to get his Tech Marine up there, which I'm not sure if he was able to do. Demeki, if you could check and see if he was able to get his Tech Marine up there to give them OBSEC, because that's a big deal. If he was not able to give them OBSEC, that means that the Terminators did control that objective, and that would be a huge Vital Ground score. Yes, it's 5 points to hold any of the middle objectives as we see here, and one of your opponent's objectives. Like that's rough because that means that essentially at this point the Dark Angels holds this objective. It looks like the Grey Knights player is still moving to see if he can get in range of this objective to give them OBSEC. So that'll be critical to this game. But at this point, if he's not able to get there, that means that the Dark Angels player is going to get a huge score on Vital Ground for 1, if not 2 turns, and that might even it out. Yeah. So it looks like as well, if he can't, we can see in the bottom objective that the Terminator's already here and they are OBSEC, and we know that this is in fact an OBSEC unit of that is the only OBSEC unit that the Grey Knights have that's been there this whole game. So the Terminators right now, it looks like there's only maybe 2 models. So these Terminators likely shot down into them to dwindle them down because the other Terminator unit wasn't going to be able to get to them very easily. And they got them down to 2 models, which means this objective is contested. The Grey Knights nor the Dark Angels hold that objective, but that's important because if the Tech Marine was not able to get up to this objective to give the Interceptors OBSEC, that means that the Terminators are going to be holding that objective and the Grey Knights get 0 primary, which if they even get 1 turn, I think because they went first of 0 primary, that would likely decide the game. We'll have to see what he does here because I think that there's no real way for him to challenge the Terminator block that's getting him his Stubborn Defiance. And the Terminators, because where is this unit of Grey Knights going to go? They have to stay there, and they will eventually... Oh, it looks like they are down to 1 model, which means that is it. They have lost that bottom objective, which means there is... Awesome. So instead, he didn't actually lose it. The Tech Marine gated to guarantee that he's giving them OBSEC. So he'll deny a turn there. But that does actually mean that the Terminators in the bottom section control this objective, which means there's guaranteed in the final turn the Dark Angels are going to get a full primary. Yeah, so I think at this point the Grey Knights, he sees that the game is essentially over. He's going to be scoring as many primary points as he can and as many secondary points as he can. He's going to hope that the Dark Angels essentially doesn't get enough secondary points that even with only getting 5 primary, a 10-point deficit in primary is enough to still give the Grey Knights player the win because he scored so high on secondary. But actually, one interesting thing is Psychic Interrogation, he might not actually be able to achieve anymore because none of the Dark Angels of characters are closer to any of those units to actually get Psychic Interrogation. So that's likely maxed out as far as it's going to go. So it really comes down to how many points, because we know Grey Knights, or we know Dark Angels are going to get 15 primary in the final turn. Are they going to be able to get enough Oath of Moments points and Vital Ground points to essentially cover the gap, or is the 10 points they're going to get over the Grey Knights in primary going to be enough to compensate for the secondary points that they are behind?
Hello. Anybody hear me? See if they respond. I'd hit a transition over to the Orc table if you can.
So can we go to table 2 real quick? I don't know if you can hear Adam. We're still trying to get his audio back. So it looks like there is...
Hey,
okay, so unfortunately...
Sounds like I'm back. Ba-boom!
Okay, you can hear him? Awesome. So, well, welcome back from that silliness.
Well done, Andrew, for holding down the fort. Absolutely killed it in my uneventful interlude. And congrats and props to him for flying solo for his very first time. Where are we at?
Well, thank you very much. We should pop over to table 2 because it looks like, unfortunately, the kill rig at the bottom of the screen here did not manage to kill that Keeper of Secrets that was to the last, and also died itself.
Died in return.
So that was probably the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's just a handful of Orcs there in contest with that couple of Nurglings and that Keeper. Yeah, that's all she wrote. Well done to Scott LaFontaine. I don't think anybody predicted we'd have an undefeated Demons player this deep into the event, let alone having an undefeated Demons and an undefeated Hive Mind player. Absolutely mind-boggling to me.
It's awesome. If any of the Demons that I was to see was going to actually make it to the top tables, it was probably a triple Keeper list. I mean, Keepers are immensely good. and very
they're
efficient.
they're actually only getting better again. They're getting a little bit of a resurgence now that there are some alternative builds coming into the meta in contention. I mean, Orc buggies, the -1 to wound on the keepers and the unkillable lot of change is actually great into Orcs. Like,
It's awesome.
it's
Awesome.
actually really good, and they numb the Orcs to bits. As soon as they touch them, they're just like buggy dead, etc. The only issue is they don't deal with planes very well at all.
Well,
Which
I
I
think
guess is where Be'lakor comes in, doesn't it?
Be'lakor and the Keeper. I mean,
Yeah.
the Lord of Change. The Lord of that is actually a target. The Lord of Change can just actively harass flyers anytime it wants, because as soon as the Wasbomb Blastojet is gone, then essentially all of the other flyers have no invulnerable save, and I mean,
Well, yeah.
he has enough combat. He can kill them. Unfortunately, it looks like Adam may be having some difficulties again on his end.
Exactly.
Remember,
Right.
the
So what
man
did we see?
is
We saw Demons versus Orcs here. The Demons have a very commanding win, having gone first in turn 1. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. So it
Oh.
looks like Adam might be still having some trouble. I will respond to him. Remember, the man is coming into us from Australia, which is a fair distance away. So we'll give him some latitude just this one time. But as far as his comment with regards to the demons, going first was probably a big deal. But I still hold that I think the Orc player committed too early to his assets, especially the commandos, which would have. Let's be clear, Goth commandos. 3 attacks each, with exploding 6s, winning all of those keepers on a 4+ or at least a 5+. That's a big deal. They actually had a good chance to go through them. So I think committing all of those commandos early was probably the wrong choice. So it looks like they're going to be wrapping up this game. We'll be getting a final score from the AdMech table, from Brian Prolin's table, and if we could pop back to table 3 real quick, let's see how this Grey Knights game is panning out, because it looks like it was getting very close. So if I'm correct, it looks like there is one model in the Grey Knights army. I'm not sure what that is still scoring that bottom objective. The Terminators here have pulled back for a reason I don't understand. Maybe they're going towards the center to get Oath of Moment. And there's still some point of contention here with regards to holding the back objective for the Grey Knights, which I'm assuming they have to just hold on to for dear life at this point, because if they don't, they'll be giving immense vital ground points to the Dark Angels. But it's possible the Grey Knights still pull this ahead, like I said, just because there will be a 5-point deficit with regards to the primaries. But the Grey Knights have scored so much better currently in the secondaries that we could see this coming down to 5 or as many as 2 or 3 points. Now, we're going to stick with these guys a bit because there is actually a lot going on here, and I'm trying to understand. It looks like the Grey Knights are being somewhat aggressive here. We see a unit of Interceptors coming out here, unless those are casualties, and only a few Dark Angels that are still holding this back objective. So maybe he's trying to do some Hail Mary play, but no, actually, it looks like the Terminators here, there were Interceptors in this bottom corner, but it looks like the Terminators here have come out and completely removed them from that bottom corner, so they cannot contest the table. Adam is talking. Can you hear him, chat? Try
Hello,
again,
can
Adam.
you hear me? We're going for the three-peat, the trifecta of internet disruptions for the Aussies.
Can you hear him, chat? He's been talking this whole time, I assure you.
Yeah, I never stop. Even when I'm not here, I don't stop. So in the fluff, the AdMech chicken walkers are perpetual motion machines. And they actually have to go wrangle them out in the wastes of Mars in order to put them into their battle barges and send them into battle. That is essentially how I operate. When I'm not on camera, I just continue to speak. I'll just sit. I go to sleep. I speak. It just continues. Never.
Oh,
ending.
so you're secret. Wait, but are you the guy that's tied into the chicken walker that's perpetually walking, or are you the rider?
I'm a dominus. I think I'm a perpetual speaking machine. I'm a cogitator.
So we just wrapped on
nonsense.
It's unbelievable. The Grey Knights versus Dark Angels table. It looks like it's possible that the Grey Knights actually have won.
There's no way. There's no way. What?
I think we're getting an update right now on final score, but it is possible that because they scored so well in secondaries early, that there wasn't enough primary that the Dark Angels could actually acquire to come back and cover that.
It should have been 45 to 35 on the primary. Indisputable, almost indisputable, that it was going to be a 15 in the last turn to only a 5 in the last turn for the Grey Knights, and that was going to be a max on stubborn defiance for a 15. It was going to be another at least 1 for 11 on Oath of Moment, and then it was going to be Vital Intel was another a minimum another 2 points, another 10 there. So man, well, who knows? Maybe some things happens that we mixed, but yeah.
I mean, it's
really
very close. It's very close because even with that 10. So the Dark
Beautiful.
Angels did win. We just got word. What was the final score? Okay, so
You
the
want to
Dark
predict? Guess it, Andrew. What's it going to be?
Okay, final score. So they're going to get another 15, so they're going to have 45 primary, and then I'm guessing they're going to get another 3 points in Vital Intelligence, which
Just
means
gut check it. Just throw a number out. Gut check, throw it out. Let's do it.
I'm going to guess they're going to get about an 82 to an 85.
82, 85. I'm going to go one better. I'm going to go 86 to 89.
How dare you? You know?
How dare I indeed?
Yeah. I mean, they're still going to score 89.
89! Woo! There we go. So, all right, my dude. We know Dark Angels got up. We're pretty sure it was going to happen.
Yes, that was predicted. It looked hazy for a moment there when he essentially sacrificed the Terminator unit for almost no reward. And more importantly, the Apothecary that not only is an Apothecary but also has the Relic to reduce invulnerable saves.
Exactly right. Had he held that another turn, it would have been a much more comfortable a path, I think.
I think I agree. I think he got too aggressive too quickly because at that point, all he has to do is wait for the Dread Knights to guarantee him a charge, and then he can kill all the Dread Knights
to come
at once.
to him. And they exactly did. He killed 3 out of 4 in one turn. If he had done that with onto all 4 of those, then he just all 4 in one go, just nice and clean.
So it turns out it was a final score of 78 for the Grey Knights to 89 for the Dark Angels. So the Grey Knights did still do remarkably well. They scored very high, and they did the best they could. I love that gate play with the Tech Marine to give them unit offset.
Huge. And in addition to that, this gentleman is still very much in the running. That is a score that if he gets another fatty win in round 6, absolutely makes the top 8.
I mean, a 78 is one of the best types of losses that you can ask for. I mean, and a lot of the other players that we had seen that had already taken a loss, and since just for the viewers out there, it's looking like a lot of the top 8 will have a loss. A lot of the other competitors that we've seen have taken a single loss. They've actually taken losses that are more around the 50 to 60 score. So 78 is fantastic.
Dude. Yeah, spot on. I'm just going to quickly give you guys a call of any more undefeated players in the winners bracket right now. We have 4 players in the winners bracket as it sits. Joe Wilson, with his Dark Angels player, of course, being top ranked right now. Then Colin McDade is currently undefeated with his Orcs, his freebooters list. Scott LaFontaine, the Demons player, just got a 69 in his final round, which does look a little bit light on, but nice. Then Tyler Bortel being the dream of SoCal, undefeated with Forces of the Hive Mind. Who would have thought? I cannot believe it. Well, I can't believe Scott either. Undefeated Demons, undefeated Hive Mind.
Listen, I think triple keeper's a little more well known than 2 random barbed Hyrule duels and token
and stuff.
I mean, now, granted, it is important to point out that a lot that happened with regards to his win there against Adam Grant had to do with the clock. So this is why it's so important to manage your time as best as you can, because it can end up causing you a loss that you shouldn't normally get.
So you're saying about Tyler's game where you got a 50-point win?
Against Brandon Grant in the last round. Or is that 2 rounds ago? Was that was round 1? Sorry.
So here's the difference where you see the difference between having that old codex. So Tyler Bortel's wins. He's got a 97 and 92, fantastic. But then he's got a 50, a 66, and a 59. The problem is now, if Tyler loses a round, if he drops a game or gets smashed, he doesn't make the top 8 because he's next. There'll be a 1 in 5 player that's got so many more points than him. Look at this guy down, Junior Aflahi on 465. He essentially has the second most battle points of anybody in attendance, just after Joel. Only 2 points behind the guy in first place is the highest ranked 4 and 1 player. So Tyler needs to win if he's going to make the top 8. So the pressure's on. I'd hate for him to come this far and not make it.
I almost feel like if he doesn't score a 90 or higher, I don't think he makes top 8.
I agree. Well, if he gets a win, he makes it.
He'll make it. Sorry. To clarify, if he wins at all, he'll be in top 8. But if he gets a loss and he does, sorry, I said 90. If he doesn't score a loss of probably 80 plus, I don't think he's going to make it.
He needs to get a huge loss. Stuff it. That's planning to lose. Go out there, Tyler, and win. Win, damn it.
But it looks
we're
like
gonna-
what we have currently only almost exactly predicted. We only have 5 undefeated players going into round 6.
Well, possibly
So-
2 more to be added still yet. Opportunistically, of course, we still have the undefeated game between Sean Naden and who was he up against?
For round 5, Sean Aiden was against, I believe, another AdMech player. Well, he scored, so
yeah,
he did
Jeff
win. He was against Jeff Jew, so he got an 87 win against Jeff Jew.
There we go. So he's our 5th undefeated. It's going to be a really interesting last round. I can't wait for it, guys. Are we ready to sign off, or are we waiting for that final score to come through? Beautiful. So
I think
Dark
it was
Angels
just-
went up against the Grey Knights, and so Dark Angels was the only team that went up in this amalgamation of 3 games that went second. Every other
Okay.
one, the player that went first won. The Demons went first, smashed it, and of course Brian went first and had an absolute slobber knocker.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like we may have lost it for a second, but it looked like he had a 94 win, Brian Poland, on table 1.
Yeah. So good win. I'm actually surprised how low scoring the the Orc and Demon Arm matchup was. 69 to 49.
I'm actually not too surprised by that because they kind of bottlenecked each other so hard in the center
Yeah.
that they essentially denied each other the ability to get any of their secondary points. Obviously,
Exactly right. Yeah.
how was the Orc player ever going to get vital ground? I don't know.
No,
was
or engage in all
nuts.
fronts is the other
Yes.
one. How was it ever going to do that?
With 3 avenues. All right. Well, that was the end of round 5. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us. We will catch you in round 6. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back in 30 minutes, I think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be about half an hour. Please stay tuned. Thank you so much for everybody supporting us so far. Spread the word.